Hello, good morning. You're watching Sewing Street. My name is Debbie Shaw and I'm going to be with you for the next 4 hours. 2 of those hours I'm going to be joined by Yvonne, who is responsible for these amazing kits that we're going to go through in just a second this morning. They are classy, they're chic, and just to warn you, they're selling already. Now we've got 2 shows with Yvonne, one in just a second and the next one is at 10 o'clock this morning. Products from the 10 o'clock show are selling already, and we got into such trouble yesterday for selling out of everything even before the show started. So I don't want those kind of messages again. Thank you very much. I'm warning you. We're going to have a very busy day. We've got some fantastic products for you. If you can get online, have a look on sewingstreet.com and just take a look at this hour's show and then at what's coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. I think you're going to be really, really impressed. However, Angie, morning, 12 minutes ago, nice and bright and early before we're even live. Do we have Morag? Morag, did you finish your botties? She was knitting a pair of botties yesterday. Well, she said it. If you'd like to come and be part of the show, say a good morning to us. It'd be lovely to hear from you. You can visit our Facebook page. I'm on the Sewing Street page, not the fans page. So come and leave a message there if you like. Share your pictures. Say good morning. What are you up to? Any requests? I know you want the stag back. I'm trying to find out. So that's on the Facebook page, or you can drop us an email if you like. It's studio@sewingstreet.com. So, now then, sewing surgery coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. We've been inundated with even more than 2 questions today. So we've had quite a few come overnight. If you do have any sewing related questions, or if you've got any gossip, not for anything really, that's at 9 o'clock this morning. And what else was I going to tell you? We've got some back in stock. So we've got the reversible bag back in stock. That's at 11 o'clock this morning. Can't find what I've done with that. We have the white on white jelly rolls. These have been selling really quickly again. Sold out completely, back in stock. Waited a while for these to come back. We've got them now, all right? But they are selling again. Told you we're going to be really busy today. That's at 9 o'clock. We've got Gutterman threads back in stock again as well. So have a look on the website for those. We've still got some of the gingerbread house, the doorstop that we had on yesterday, but I think there's only about 20 left. And the same with the advent calendars. We had some really beautiful advent calendars on yesterday that had lights in the kit as well, and we've still got a few of those left as well if you're still in the mood for Christmas. Right, early birds. As you hear, nice and early with us. Nice. Here we go. Words not working properly. Do apologise this morning. We bring you an early bird special at 8 o'clock every morning, and that's just to say thank you very much for joining us so early. But there is method in our madness, because we bring you a reduced price item or items that will last for the duration of the day or while we have the stock. So we're bringing you 3.5 meters of fabric for £8.97. But our thing is, you see, if you order this, you're going to save yourself £3. That's almost your P&P, which is £3.95. And then if you come back again and order anything else throughout the day, you don't pay any extra postage. So this is kind of getting your postage out of the way for the day and also saving yourself a little bit of money. So if you decide later on this evening all the way through to midnight that you've run out of pins, or you just want a pair of snips, or you want to buy a 780 sewing machine, it doesn't matter what it is, you won't pay any extra postage for the whole of the rest of the day. So if you'd like to add mustard bunnies to your stash, look at that, 140 wide, 100% cotton, and really pretty. So it could be, hair scrunchies, little girls' dresses, pinafores, aprons, a little bit of patchwork, cushion covers, maybe something for the nursery, dolls' clothes, whatever you think. It's got a nice ditzy little non-directional print as well. So you can make the most of every single square inch of that one. And that comes to you with an off-white fabric, so that matches perfectly. And you've got a red too. I don't know why it doesn't go. You wouldn't use them all together, would you, really? To add a pop of colour. It's not the colour I'd choose, but, no, it's just a bargain price for 3.5 meters of fabric, 1.5 meters of fabric altogether. You don't have to use them together. Those two go really well there. That looks really nice and smart. Anyway, £3 saving. Oh, was it Morag's message? She's awake then. Where am I? Sewing Street Community. Oh, Frou Frou Booties, Morag. Oh, if that... so my cat Rainbow is trying to take over the phone yesterday. Oh, they are really sweet. More if you're not on Facebook, Morad knows some knitted some little tiny pink booties, and they've got like fluff. It looks like tinsel. I'm sure it's not, but they've got fluff around the top of them. That little lady's going to be in kitten heels with pom poms before long, isn't she? Morning, Lucy. Lucy says morning. Lovely, Debbie. Looking forward to today's shows. Love Lucy. Yeah, Angie was way ahead this morning. Poppy's messaged in. Morning, all. She said, coffee in hand, waiting for a laugh. Might be on the wrong channel there then, Poppy. And she loves Sewing Street. We all love Sewing Street. Right, so that's your early bird. That's that out of the way. Do you want to have a look at these amazing kits? Which one should we go first? Should we do this one? Should we do that one? I've been instructed not to open the fabric, because I'll never be able to get it back again. But look at this. Isn't that just a wonderful colour combination? Beautiful, I said earlier on, it's elegant, it's chic, it's gorgeous quality, all Japanese inspired. I love the colour palettes and the black and the greys and the gold and the little bit of foiling on there as well. And there's enough fabric with a little bit left over for a wonky cut to make the whole of the top of the quilt, including the borders and including the binding as well. So you're going to need some backing fabric. We'll have a chat about that with Yvonne later on. And you'll need some wadding as well. We've got wadding on the show for you too. They're amazing. Love these together. I think if you were to go into a fabric store, I think they're quite daring colours, if you know what I mean. Anything that goes with blacks and golds, and they're so kind of opulent colours and really rich. And I think you've got to have exactly the right shade to do that. So I think it's so lovely when the whole kit has been put together for you. So there's no guessing. All you need to do is to chop up your fabrics. You've got all your instructions there, and enjoy every second of putting these pieces together. So £47.99 your price there. I would suggest you order and then make a note in your diary that today was the day that Yvonne was on, and then you can have a look back probably tomorrow and there afterwards and take a look on our YouTube channel, and then any demonstrations and hints and tips or anything like that you're going to be able to watch back, but you'll know that you've got your kit in the bag already. Isn't that amazing? That's beautiful and simple. Okay, so the second one we have, this is what Yvonne's going to demo with today. So that's the finished article, if you will. And look, I'm going to open that one a little bit so you can see. So pretty, isn't it? So you've got the same print, but looking very different. You see different areas of the fabric standing out, don't you? So gorgeous. Those are cranes. See, even the blue isn't just a plain blue. It's like a blue and black weave together. And gold. And blacks. And more blues. It's rich. It looks really, really expensive. Right, okay, so that again is £47.99. She was right, I can't fold them back up again. We have patterns for you as well for the Japanese wall hangings. Now these are kind of dotted around here, and we've got one here. And you've got 4 patterns in there. So you choose your own fabrics, but you have all of your step-by-step instructions. We're going to take a look at Prairie points later on. And no enlarging by 202%, I'm assured. So again, you've got your full-size patterns included in there. That's only £14.99, and again, that's for 4 patterns, and that's the kind of size that you're going to be able to make. Perfect hand stitching, I have to say. Right, so that's this hour. Have a look later on the website if you can. They'll miraculously be very well folded by the time 10 o'clock comes around. These are coming up later on, but we've been really busy. So again, if you wanted to get ahead of the game and place your order, then do feel free to do so. So this is your table runner. I shan't show you the actual runner now. That's what they're around the set. You can spot them. And then we've got the home is where the heart is quilt as well, which is, do have that one there. Okay, those are coming up later, but they've been really busy, so I'm just giving you plenty of warning. Okay. So I think it's about time Yvonne came on. Had enough from me. So if there is anything you'd like to order and you haven't ordered from us before, here's a couple of ways you can do so.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
So welcome back again, and welcome to you, Yvonne.
Hi, Debbie. Good to see you.
Again, because you were on Sewing Street a couple of times, weren't you?
On Sewing Quarter.
Sewing Quarter.
Yes,
sorry.
but Sewing Street.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Same thing, but smaller version of it.
Yeah, the bijou version. Oh, no, it is lovely to be back. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself before we start demonstrating.
Well, my name is Yvonne McAtamney, which proves to be quite unpronounceable for a number of people. But it is my pleasure to be the owner of Village Fabrics, a patchwork and quilting shop in Wallingford. And my passion, which I hope I'll transfer to you today, is for sewing. I've owned the shop for a long time now, I'm not saying how many years, but I'm so grateful to be able to say that through the last very difficult months we've had a really, really supportive public. Our customers have been very loyal to us, and I just do want to say a big thank you to everyone for that. So today I just want to share some of the details to allow you to make some of the kits that you can find on the website here, and you generally see them hanging around the shop. So my aim in life is to have everyone sewing if at all possible. So I think it's very important to allow people to start off with something that is quite straightforward but has a wow factor to it.
Yeah.
So with, as Debbie's just been saying, the fabrics that are in these dancing crayon kits really does most of the work for you.
I was saying as well, I think it's very brave to choose fabrics like that to work with. Do you know what I mean? If you were to go into a fabric store and pick out all of these individually, I think I'd be really worried that they'd work, because it is so bold.
But that's the advantage of us having chosen those fabrics for people, because colour can be a really intimidating thing for a lot of people. But I just find it quite straightforward. But then that's why I do what I do.
And I find as well that years ago when I first started sewing professionally, shall we say, I can remember going into one particular fabric shop and all of the colours were all a huge place, all lined up.
Yeah.
And there was a whole stack of black fabric. I didn't realise there were so many different colour blacks.
Oh, tell me about it. The green ones, the blue ones, and the double dyed black ones. Oh yeah, yeah. And of course, the key to this is you must buy enough fabric to finish the project, especially if it's a solid colour, because there's just no leeway in that dye lot if it's not exactly the same shade. But then of course you have to but then of course you just have to use your imagination, don't you, to get yourself out of the hole you've got yourself into. I just would like to go through a couple of the things that you need to know to make this kit an easy sew for a beginner.
Okay.
we do try to do really straightforward instructions. And as I said earlier, the important thing about this whole kit is the fabric. The fabric's doing all the work for you, and you are just putting some 2.5-inch squares around things. So if you have the main fabric, the important thing is to make sure that your cranes are going the right way, or whatever design that has a direction going to it. So in the instructions, we have given you a cutting diagram to cut the main pieces out. Hence, I have all these lovely large squares and rectangles, and I'm going to cause havoc to myself as well as everybody else here. But we're just making sure that we have all of the fabric going the same way. And the set of cutting instructions in the pattern allow you to do that. Once you've done that, because this is the star of the show, all you have to do is put the surrounds around it. So if I just push that a little bit forward there, out of the way. So the next bit on this page is all about doing some what are called 9 patches. Now I don't want to teach my grandmother to suck eggs, but if this is something that you're just starting to do, then this is all about putting 2.5-inch squares together. If you do this nice and accurately, then everything will fit together. I promise it will fit together. So you have to make 2 different sets of 9 patches. So you have one set that has more cream and less blue, and then the other set, okay, has the 5 blue squares and only 4 of the cream ones. Okay, so again, the demo for this is going to be very straightforward, very short, but I think whenever we teach beginners classes, I like to just tell people about whenever you're at school and you're learning to write. First of all, you learn to do your letters, then you learn to do some joined up stuff, and then you develop your own style.
Yes, it's true.
You know, it might become illegible, but you have created your own style, but you've only been able to do that because you've got the basics right. So, as patchwork is a very detailed and very accurate craft, you must cut accurately. The old idiom, measure twice, you say.
Once, yeah.
And this time you've also got to cut very accurately. So that, of course, is why the mat, a rotary cutter and a ruler prove to be very, very important to allow you to measure accurately, but also to cut square. So important to cut squares. So I have joined some of these 2.5-inch squares together using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So that is just along there. Now, before you start to join these together, it's probably a pretty good idea to measure what size that is. So this should measure 6.5 inches at this time. If this one doesn't measure 6.5 inches, then it's not going to join up very well. So to save the unpicking, which of course is a skill all of its own, then what you need to do is measure before you do too much more. Now, for patchworkers can become very obsessive about making points meet. This hopefully will help you join things together and have your seams meeting. So what I'm doing here is I would call this nesting the seams, it has become important to press. For me, I always press my seams closed. Now there are some exceptions, but for today I'm pressing my seams closed. So I press to the dark side.
Right.
My little grandson's going to be so pleased that there's a reference to Star Wars. So we are pressing to the dark side. This then allows me to nest my seam allowances together. So I'm going to just roll that up there, and I'm going to put a pin in through the seam allowance on the top, like so, and another one on the other side, and I'm making sure that I'm catching the seam allowance that is below. So going down through. Same again here. I have my seam allowances opposing each other. And what is so amazing at this point is that my hands aren't shaking so much that I can't get the pins in, which is very reassuring.
It's the camera.
Oh, of course. Right, so these flower-headed pins are really useful because they are that little bit longer, and they will allow you to just remove the pins as you come up to them, or in my instance, I sometimes in my own machine sew over them, but perhaps it is my own machine, not somebody else's. So, sewing machine, you want to either have your 1/4-inch foot on or have placed the needle in a position that allows you to be 1/4 of an inch from the foot that you have on the machine. I would be also looking to have my stitch length at about a 2.4 up to a 2.6 because I'm only joining 2 strips of fabric together. And this, of course, is another skill that I'm learning this morning, standing up, pressing foot and talking at the same time. And let's move that down a little bit. So I'm not going quite so fast. I'm not quite sure what's right. That's too slow. Okay. Right, so that Debbie doesn't shudder too much, I'll take the pins out.
I'm going to tut if you go over needles.
Yeah, you tut. But if you're going to do it at high speed, then yeah, you can't sew over pins. But if you are very careful, I am just going to do that.
That isn't a budgie in the corner of the studio.
So here comes the moment of truth, and hopefully I'm going to have, yeah, perfect seam intersections meeting. Now, at this point, I'm just going to finger press this out, and just for a little bit of repetition here, because the more often you see something, the easier it is to remember. I am again placing these on top, rolling them forward, just feeling with my fingers, putting the pins in, one there, making sure that my seam allowances are flat. So am I going to stab myself in the finger? No, that's okay, that's better.
You wouldn't be the first one.
Many stories I can tell of blood in places you don't want it to be. But but you do know how to get it out, don't you? You spit on it.
Really?
You spit on it, and it has to be your own spit, not somebody else's. The enzymes in your saliva react with the blood and will remove it. It's a chemical thing. And so
but if you see somebody else cut themselves, you don't go spitting on them.
No. It's not that kind of a show. No, but it truly does work, because we have had a few incidents actually with rotary cutters as well.
Oh.
They are so sharp. But if it's just a little spot of blood that you get on something, then spit on it immediately, and it should chemistry will come to your rescue.
Obviously, if it's a serious injury.
Oh yes, off to accident and emergency immediately. Oh, we've had to do that as well.
Keep spitting.
Now, you said you weren't going to laugh this morning.
I know. After yesterday, I thought we'll have a sensible show today.
Yeah, well, you met
and
me.
then you came in.
Yeah.
With cakes. I know, chocolate cakes.
Yeah.
Baked by your daughter.
But by my daughter Helen. I've got to say that she is the baker in the family.
So did your daughter sew as well?
They have been known to, but
You have 2 daughters?
I have 2 daughters. My older daughter wouldn't sew as much. She would knit, but she is the brains in the organisation. She does my accounting and stuff like that for me. That's Karen. And my younger daughter, yeah, she does do a bit of sewing, and she now has my grandchildren, so that keeps her out of mischief most of the time. So if I just now I have created one of these, yeah, and I should give that a really good press, but I think I might just get away with that because all I want to do is show you how these will then form up to create sections of quilt. So here's the layout diagram, and you can see that it is actually assembled in 3 different sections. That's the first one.
Just spin it around to face you.
Okay, and
that's
then,
it.
Oh, that's easier for me, right? So that's the first section, and that's the second section, and then this is the third one. Okay.
Yes.
So I now need to, if I take one of these small squares, I can actually start doing a little bit of a layout so that people can see. So that I'm going to join on to that. Oh, I'm too far out of shot. Okay, there we go. Then I need to put some more squares across there. That's my step 2. So that's going to go there.
So while you're just arranging, Sue's looking forward to the shows and loves the cranes fabric.
Oh, thank you.
Alan's with us this morning. Morning, Alan. Alan's got posh slippers.
So pleased.
Yep. And he's mastered the V-neck. It's taken him years. He's got there. Send the points first. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, lovely. Pauline and Angela, looking forward to today's shows and loving the fabrics as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, just to mention, we have less than 20 left of each of your colour options. Oh, less than 15 now. Less than 15 of each one left.
And then, so this is your top row. Okay. Yeah, I followed my arranging here. So it's the same process to join the 9 patches together as we used to join the strips together.
Right.
So we're just going to flip that there, and we're lining up again, putting our pins in and sewing along.
So while you're just doing that again, let's have a chat about backing fabrics, because people will need their own, and what kind of waddings can they use?
Well, depending on where you see this quilt going, if you think you're going to put it on a wall, then I think you want to use a wadding that's going to give you a very flat finish.
Right.
As opposed to something that would drape. So probably an 80-20 wadding, still the bulk of it being cotton, which gives you that bit of weight, but the polyester just gives it a little bit more, gives it a bit more fluff, a bit more air.
So our wadding that we have by the half metre, details on your screen, a metre of that will be fine,
A metre of that would be excellent, because it's that extra wide, isn't it? So yeah. Whenever you would do this, you would have enough for, you'd have sufficient left to make a reasonable sized product, second project out of the one wadding. For backing, again, depends what you want to do with it. If this is going on a wall, you don't need anything fancy. However, sometimes, just because I can, I do put some lovely Japanese fabric on the back as well. But then that is just because I can. And if it makes it reversible, of course, if you want to put it over the back of a chair in your bedroom or whatever. These ones just have a cream on the back of them because they are. It is a shop sample in this instance.
Is that, are they quilted? You stitched in the ditch?
I can't remember. I have, yes, on this I have just stitched in the ditch. I do sometimes do some Sashico stitching down the borders.
Oh, that would be lovely.
And that, depending on what fabric I put on the border, this one does most of the work for you, which again is why I think it's a useful thing it's a good kit for a beginner. But if you used a plain colour here, then you want to bring the design from the centre of the quilt out to the edge. Now, wouldn't it be nice if you took this basic template shape, you know, make a template from that, and dotted some cranes down the border,
nice,
and with wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Now, I think I've sewn enough 9 patches at the moment. So that is all that you do. You are joining your seam, you're joining your 9 patches together, and then that joins onto there, and that is going to join onto there. So it's a little bit, just build it up, starting on the top corner, work your way across. Set that section aside, go across the second section here. So this is where you put another big square in and some more of your 9 patches. I would suggest you don't make all of your 9 patches up, just in case until you are nearly finished your assembly, because you might find you've got one that's the wrong way round.
Right.
But just, you know, keep, you need so many of each, and you can make it work if it goes a little bit wrong, because you just turn it round. So that is the basics of how to make this. You need to make sure that your fabric is all going the right way, otherwise you're going to have cranes with headaches, which is not a good thing. And you need to be accurate with your cutting, your stitching, and then all your 9 patches are going to go together like a dream.
So what comes first when you're designing a quilt like this? Do you see the fabric and think, oh, I'm going to make this? Or do you come up with the design and then choose the fabric?
Quite often I see the fabric and I think I want to do something with that. And people who come to my shop sometimes spend a couple of hours looking at the fabric, choosing fabrics that they want. That's nothing compared to the length of time it takes me. I've got some wonderful fabric that I want to make into a quilt. Well, I think I'm on about 3 weeks now, and I still can't decide what I want to put with it. I need to choose 8 fabrics. I know what the design's going to be, because that kind of came once I'd seen the fabric, which is multicoloured, it's gorgeous. But now I know what the design's going to be. Can I find 8 fabrics? Yeah. But it will all come in due course whenever I can see a deadline that has to be achieved. I think it sort of concentrates the mind somewhat.
And is it just quilting you do, or do you do dressmaking or homewares?
We don't really do a lot of dressmaking. We do have some dressmaking patterns, and certainly all of the cotton that we have in stock is suitable to dressmake with. But we enjoy our patchwork too much, I think. I do occasionally get forced into dressmaking. Forced into it, that sounds a bit harsh. The last serious dressmaking I did was for my daughter's wedding. Oh. And I said, I'm not making the wedding dress.
What was it like?
No, didn't make it. Did not make it. I still wanted to be speaking to my daughter at her wedding. So I said, I'll make the bridesmaids' dresses, thinking she would have 2 bridesmaids. 5.
Oh.
So I don't know if anybody's actually shown you this. This is the blue one. This is the one that I haven't completed on the desk there, but this is the completed one. Okay. And yeah, you know what? I'm going to turn it round and let you see the back, because this kind of shows you where all your joins are going to be and how your seams should be lying flat as much as you possibly can. You know, do keep pressing. Do keep pressing. Now you see I've got a little bit of a twist there. Not much.
Do you press with steam?
I don't.
Right.
If you press with pressing with steam can be useful if things don't quite fit.
Right.
Because with steam, you can stretch things by about a 1/2 inch. As much as that.
Oh.
Yeah. So I try not to, but sometimes in extremis, to make things fit, then a bit of steam is a useful thing. I try to press, I don't iron. You don't want to stretch your seams, you don't want to stretch anything, of course, that is on
So pressing
back.
up and down, ironing,
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah. You want to be doing that, because if you've cut accurately and you've sewn accurately, then nothing needs to move. That's the theory. So that is all that I want to show you about this. Because what I want to do, and the bit that I find much more enjoyable, is whenever it comes to our pattern writing, whenever I can actually sort of use my imagination a little bit more and try and encourage you to do the same. This particular set of, pattern has 4 different designs in it. And, right, let me move on to my set of stuff here.
And half of the stock sold out already.
And let me see, do I need one of those? I need that bit. And if I just push that back in there in the meanwhile. So I love my Japanese fabrics, as I think you'll have seen from the first project here. So now it's a matter of what else can you do with it, because you don't have enough beds to do this repeatedly, but you do have enough walls. At least that's my hope. So what I have been doing for a little while now is making these Japanese wall hangings. It's a basic recipe, 2 background pieces and 1 circle. If we can look at the back wall, then you can see that we have one here that has some butterflies on. This one has some beautiful cranes and wisteria. And over on this side, dragonflies. And then this one was just a bit of crazy flowers and a bit of embroidery and just some magical flowers. But what I love about it is all of this has come from the same basic 2 background pieces and a circle.
Right.
Yeah. And they do look different. It's like creating a different canvas for the background.
But they're a lovely collection though, aren't they?
Well, you know, use your same coloured backgrounds and circles and create different little pictures on each.
So you need to choose your own fabrics for this one. This is the 4 patterns, isn't it?
It is. Now, what I just wanted before, the technique that I'd like to show you on this are the folded prairie points. But just before I go to that, I'd just like to show you what a few different backgrounds look like. Wouldn't that be fun? Just to show you that, you know, you can...
That's lovely.
And so that could be one. Now, it can be as simple as, is that the side you want that to sit on? Or that side? Or would it be better the other way round?
Yeah.
So think about these things before you start. Okay, what colour circle am I going to put on? What happens if I put a dark circle on? That's fun, isn't it? Or, how about this one I've been playing around with a little bit. How about a white circle? Some pinks and golds on. Or, how about being really radical and doing something, something like this, you know? I just want to give people ideas. I like to spark people's imaginations. And, yeah.
That it also means that whoever's making this is going to make something really personal and unique to them, isn't it? Yes, you're following a pattern, but you're having input into what you're creating as well.
Yeah. All I'm doing is giving you a starting point. Now, this one, I want to show you this one because this is the one that be that way around. This is the one that I made this to actually go on. Okay, so that's going to go there.
It's lovely.
Yeah, and on this particular one, I like to be putting lots of textures one on top of the other. So this is a needle turned circle. I do my needle turning very old-fashioned way, I'm afraid. There's no glue, there's nothing. It's just me and my needle, and I have, in this instance, used a Frixian pen to just mark a little bit of a line there that I can follow. And I do turn it and tack it. And with this size of a circle, it's not too tight a curve.
Yeah.
So it is possible to just stitch around all the way around there. Now, the sequence that you have to sew this is on anything that you're putting onto this circle, you have to do before you then apply the circle onto the onto your two-piece background. Now, continuous prairie points. I'm just going to use that needle as a pin.
Shirley sent us a message. Morning, Shirley. She says, morning, Debbie and Yvonne. It's lovely to see Yvonne from Village Fabrics back on the screens again.
Thank you.
She says, she's lucky enough to be one of your customers.
Oh, that's nice.
And attends your workshops once a month.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for saying hi.
Yeah, she says they're beautiful kits and they're beautiful quality, and is looking forward to the classes starting again.
You and me too, but we do have to remain cautious and do the sensible things. So I'm trying, once I've come up with a cunning plan, I will let everyone know, but it's just not safe enough at the minute to run half-day classes even. We do have large workshop, but
could you Zoom them?
Well, that's technical, Debbie. I'm not sure I do technical to that extent. It is something I'm thinking about, but so much of it is actually putting your hands on someone else's work to just turn it around and say, okay, look, turn it that way and you can see what you're doing. But we do miss having all of our students in the shop. But we're still going to be there. Don't panic. We're not going anywhere. We intend being there next year and beyond. Continuous prairie points.
Right.
These can be a little bit fiddly, but they are very, very effective. In our patterns, you will find you have a sheet of, there is a sheet that shows you what you need to be folding, and, I've taken it out of that one, okay. You will have a piece of paper like this, which shows you lines that you need to cut along and lines that you need to fold along.
Oh, I've not seen this before.
Yeah.
Because prairie points normally, aren't they just folded squares and then you sew them all together?
Continuous is the word. Continuous, you see. And what you do is transfer those markings onto a piece of fabric. Now, the width of the fabric is going to determine the size of your prairie points. If you want to do really little ones, then this becomes narrower. Okay. This particular one is 3 inches wide. This I did smaller, but you will end up with a piece like this. And that would be the plan, you see. Or if you're really clever, and this happened by accident, it happened by accident, okay, you can create a circle.
Oh.
Isn't that fun? So, this one is marked up. So what we've done is drawn a line down the middle. I'll put that down because my hands are shaking. Draw a line down the centre. Now this is where you really do need to remain square. So 3 inches wide, 1/2 inch on either side. Line down the middle. Starting from one end, measure 1.5 inches square and continue down the piece of fabric 1.5 inches square. Now this is where the fun bit starts. you take away 3/4 of an inch in this instance, so that your first square is going on this line, is going to be halfway along the top square. So this piece becomes redundant, okay? So what I'm going to do is cut away that redundant piece, and this is where you really need a pair of very sharp scissors. And in my shop, as they do at Sewing Street here, these Fiskars scissors. Yeah, these Fiskars scissors, because you need to be able to cut right to the tip.
I've got some of those.
They are invaluable.
Yep.
I happen to have a different pair of scissors because, you know, you have what you grow up with. So I'm cutting along each of the lines up to the centre, not beyond, just up to the centre.
Kirsty's with us this morning. Hi, Kirsty. She's morning, Debbie and Yvonne. I have some of the crane fabric in my stash, and this has given me another idea of how to use it rather than just bag making. I'm back in the office again this morning, so my iPad is back on, but she's on her own. Do what you want, Kirsty, if you're on your own, can't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
It's like us here. Do what we want.
okay, I'm going to just cut one more little bit.
Never seen this before. Oh, Dawn says it's nice to see something so different. Morning, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. Now, obviously we're not going to have enough time to do all of this, but it's repetition. You've got to make sure you do the same movement each time. So I've cut all the vertical lines. Now, I'm going to fold down, finger crease that, and then I'm going to fold up.
Oh, the penny's just dropped.
Okay.
Is this your is this your discovery? Is this your,
no. This is the way I use it. Perhaps I would claim, but no. It's really a very old technique, I think. So we came down, and we're folding up. You've got to make sure you do it the same way each time, because what you want are your little folded pieces being in the same direction. I'm now going to do that. This is also, I'm not a gadget girl, but you really do need to have little pins to do this. Otherwise you just, whenever you're working on this scale, you need to have little pins.
We have applique pins on the website, which are little short ones like that.
Yeah, clover applique pins. I just happen to have them in my pin cushion here because it's easy.
You've got a tiny pin cushion to hold your tiny pins on.
I do, and it sticks on my finger. Except at the minute, it would appear that I have so many pins and needles in it that I can't actually get it on my finger. So,
just before you carry on any further, was it 9 left of these? We have 3 left. Next 3 people to check out will get your patterns.
So that each time we do this, we are making sure that we have folded so that our folds are all on the top edge, and that we are encasing our raw edges with the previous. So down, finger press, up, and over, encasing the previous bit. Okay.
That would make a lovely trim on a pocket.
Yeah.
Or around a collar.
And you can lay it flat, as these are, or if I go to one that I have already stitched a bit of so that it's going to stay in place, what you can do is just press them open. And any of you beaders out there, and I know I've seen people do a lot of beautiful things with this, just put some stitches in, put a little bead, 1 bead, 2 beads down here, which is what I've done on this one. Every other one I have put a little bead on. I've done the same on the amber dragonflies over here. They are little amber ones on top of the black. Now, the one thing that I would say is that you need to tack this together, because there is just there are too many layers to simply sew this into the seam. You need to have it stabilized before you try and incorporate it. So if you can, I tack it and then I machine along it, catching all of those edges. Then make sure that your little folded openings are to the top. Going to insert that in there. And whenever you're sewing this, you need to have your stitch length up to something like a 3, at least a 3, maybe a 3.5, because you are going through a lot of layers. You've got both sides and about 4 layers of fabric through the middle there. Get that machined in place and then turn them, press them open, try not to burn your fingers, and put some stitches in. Now, these are just the things that I have done. I just love inspiring people. So with the idea that there are 4 different patterns in the pattern, 4 different designs, I just cut out some of the different elements that are in the pattern, and thought what I could do is just throw a few of these bits on, and, well, artistically place, perhaps that's a better, and show you some of the things that you can do. You don't have to have the butterflies without, you can have dragons and butterflies, yeah? Pop some little flowers on. Maybe you need a little, I think you need a little clump of flowers, you know, or have the butterflies heading towards them. So this, whenever I did this, I'm showing my age, I know, but perhaps Debbie would remember. Do you remember fuzzy felt?
Oh gosh, yes.
Well,
I love fuzzy felt.
Me too. And I thought, you know, this is something in the same ilk, just taking elements and applying it onto an interesting background.
And again, it means that you're going to create something that is
absolutely
very personal,
absolutely
and
unique.
Yes, nobody else is going to have one the same. Do you know, when you do, I want to see your pictures. It'd be lovely to see what
that
you're
would
going
be
to make,
wonderful, because it's such a thrill as a designer to see whenever my initial idea has been taken on by the student to create something that's just for them.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Well, your patterns are sold out.
Okay.
So we'll give you a quick recap of what we have left. We're going to see you again at 10 o'clock.
That's the plan.
And I'm really looking forward to it. I've really enjoyed this hour.
It's been fun.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
And I know you have as well. Okay, so let's give a reminder of how you can order what we have left of the show. And we'll see you again just after this.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
So a really quick reminder, as I said, of what we have left. I've really enjoyed that show. Wasn't that really nice? I can't wait till 10 o'clock when Yvonne comes back again. And like you said, Dawn, it is nice to have something different, isn't it? And these really are. So let me just show you what you get in the kit. First of all are your instructions. This is for the big quilt behind me. You'll have all of the fabrics to make the top and to make the borders. You'll need your own wadding and you'll need your own backing fabric as well. And the colours, well, black's going to be fine for a backing fabric, isn't it? So we've got the cranes. Just the colours are amazing. And the fabric is such lovely, lovely quality. And it's folded very well, have to say. And this is what you're going to be able to make. I just think it's amazing. But when you see the demonstration that Yvonne did earlier on, it's just sewing together squares. It's all squares and a rectangle. So it is actually very simple. So let me show you by comparison the second colour. Gives a very different look, I think, as well. So this is, although it's black and gold and grey, it's quite soft compared to the blue and the white, isn't it? This is absolutely striking. Have I got that? Oh, no, not the right way up. There you go. And it's a really nice size as well, isn't it? It's really big. So I'm seeing this as a wall hanging personally, because I just think it's something that's going to be in your living room that you can admire every single day. But what a wonderful gift this would make as well. Can you imagine? And if you're making a quilt as a gift, they take ages, don't they? There's so many of us that have quilts that you start and then 6 months later you still started, and then a few months later, or by the time you're making that baby quilt, they're turning 18. But this, because you're just sewing together squares, is actually very, very simple. So therefore quite quick project for you to make. Very clear instructions, and they're all designed in-house. So we have less than 10 of each available now. So this is the blue dancing cranes. Look at these. It's gorgeous fabric. I want to wear it. Really deep, rich indigo blues, and then the gold. It just looks so opulent, doesn't it? But it's really classy. And then the deep black. And you've got the blue. It's like a pebble kind of effect on there as well. Really beautiful. So again, that's £47.99. But if you're going to order, then please do it quickly, because I think by the time we come back at 10 o'clock, we're going to be saying everything from this show has sold out. If you do need any wadding, then Yvonne was suggesting going for a polycotton, which we have here, which is extra wide, and it's by the ½ metre, which is quite nice, because normally with a wadding, we sell it, and most shops will sell it in a packet, so you have to buy a queen size or a king size or a cot size. You can buy as much of this as you like. So if I'll just open half of it, because I can't actually stretch the whole thing open. It's twice that width, so it's 244 centimetres wide by ½ metre. So comfortably, without joining any together, you'll need 1 metre for this, but you will have quite a lot left over, so you can make another quilt or pad out your cushion covers or something like that. That's only £6.99 for ½ metre, so go for 2 of those and it'll come in one continuous 1 metre length. Oh, Marion's messaged in. Hello, Marion. Marion's got nothing done this morning. Me neither. She said she's been so absorbed by Yvonne's beautiful work. I'll tell you when I see her at 10 o'clock. Thank you, Marion. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really pleased. Now that we've got sewing surgery coming up next, so I've got a list of questions to work through. And if you have any, then come and join me on Facebook or drop us an email on studio@sewingstreet.com. So have a think about what you're going to ask. And if you've got any tips, let's do a whole tips thing. Yvonne's tip was spit on your finger when you prick it and you're bleeding. It doesn't work with severed limbs. Not enough spit for that. I love the paracetamol for cleaning the iron tip that we had the other week. If you've got any tips, come and let us know. Let's have a tips and techniques kind of hour in the next hour. So right, let's pop all of these away, maybe fill up the coffee cup, and I'll see you again in a couple of minutes.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great,
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
and it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and gemporia.com.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns. Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
Hello everyone, my name's Cara Ackerman and I'm absolutely delighted to be here at Sewing Street. I actually originated from Hertfordshire, then went down to Hampshire and then it ended up in the East Midlands. I've been in the East Midlands for about 40 years now, which seems crazy, but 36 of those I actually worked with DMC Creative World, which was wonderful. I really enjoyed that. And then I decided to go freelance and that's how I got introduced to Sewing Street. I love doing anything to do with textiles, so embroidery, cross stitch, patchwork, done a bit of quilting, bag making, toy making, oh goodness, there's loads and loads of things. What I love doing is just trying something new, and I think one of the tips is don't be frightened of trying something new. You always learn from it, and you know, don't be scared of making mistakes either. We all learn from the mistakes that we make. Little bit about me that you might not know and that's a bit of a surprise. I once went to the garden party down at Buckingham Palace, the Queen's garden party, for some work that I did with Marie Curie. I was so lucky to go there and just a wonderful time. So I hope to see more of you on Sewing Street and I hope to try lots of new crafts with you. So see you again soon. Bye bye.
Hi, I'm Debbie Shaw from Sewing Street and these are my 5 top tips for successful sewing. So number 1, always use a good quality thread. A good quality thread will keep your seams stronger and also help to prevent lint building up inside your sewing machine. Tip number 2, if your project isn't going quite according to plan, put it down, walk away from it, come back again the next day and you'll probably find that things don't seem half as bad as they did. My tip number 3, never throw away your sewing machine manual, always keep it to hand because you're going to find hints and tips, techniques and troubleshooting in that manual. You'll miss it if you lose it. My tip number 4 is to read your pattern instructions before you even cut out your fabric. Different manufacturers of patterns will give you different instructions, different ways of constructing your garments and different seam allowances. So to have a successful garment, you need to follow the instructions precisely. And then tip number 5 is don't give up. Every professional sewer sewed their first seam. Every professional quilter quilted their first quilt. Every professional quilter sewed their first line of wonky stitches and had to get out the quick and pick. That's no different to you. So I hope you find these useful. If you want more hints and tips, then why not go to Sewing Street on channel 74 on Freeview, on Sky 670, and of course we have a YouTube channel where you can catch up on previous demonstrations. We'll see you soon. Hello again and welcome back to Sewing Street. I'm just getting surgery organised, so we're open for business. Okay, so I've got a list of questions. We've got some things to show you as well. So before we do that, and I'll explain why I've got a hammer. I just want to show you very quickly our white on white fabrics. So we have 2.5 inch wide fabric strips, 40, oh sorry, that was a bit high, wasn't it? 40 of them in total, and these are white on white fabrics. I think white on white is so elegant, but so textural as well. It's a lot more interesting than just a plain white. They're kind of an off-white colour, and we've got different prints on each one of them, so you're going to be able to create something very, I'm thinking bridal, very summery, springy if you're quilting with them, if you're using those as binding. There you've got lots that you can do that with. I'm going to be doing a Y seam with tumbling blocks in a bit. I don't think the contrast is enough for a tumbling block personally, but wouldn't these just make, in fact it would be very interesting, wouldn't it? It would be very pretty. But you've got some very delicate small prints in the whites and the creams and the off-whites, but I wanted to show you these straight away because I don't think they're going to last for the rest of the hour. They sold out ever so quickly last time, so heading the same way again I think this time. You get so much, look. So you've got little spots and flowers and stripes and all kinds of things, look. But 40 of those in total, each 2.5 inches wide, for you £24.99. Right, there's not a lot of those left. If you'd like to order, please go to 800 001 4433 if you want to order on the phone lines, or on the website, which is sewingstreet.com, and make sure you get hold of those before we sell them out and we're in trouble again. Right, so that's those. Put those to one side there. So do you want to have a look at anything else before we go through questions? Let's have a look at the back in stock Gutermann threads. I feel very busy here this morning. We've got a lot of stuff, and I've got 2 machines as well. We do have overlocker questions, so I'll have a look at that later. I like Gutermann thread, I like Oracle thread, I like metal thread, I like a quality thread to work with, and I do bash on about it somewhat, but a quality thread gives you a quality seam. It'll give you a stronger seam. So I always go for a big brand name. Now this is Sew All thread, which is polyester, but it has the look and the feel of cotton. And you have a whole kaleidoscope of colours to choose from here. It does look like cotton, it feels like cotton, so it's not shiny like you'd expect a polyester to be, but polyester is incredibly strong, so it's perfect for dressmaking. If you're a quilter, you may prefer to use cotton, I know Yvonne does, but this is a really durable thread that is going to withstand washing without shrinkage and without colour fading as well. And I just think it's so nice to have all of the colours that you need and then some of the colours that you want as well. There's nothing worse than going to your thread stash and thinking, right, I want something to really contrast with this blue, and you've got nothing. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll just go for brown then, because you make do, don't you? You don't rush out and buy one spool of thread. Or maybe you want something that matches really well. You're more likely to have a matching thread when you've got more of them, aren't you? Maybe it's just a plain grey that you need, or you want to go for a really nice contrast, different colours. Your £59.99 is such good value for money. I did have one of those really moments when I saw the price, and I actually went like, really? I did go like that. And I love the tin that it comes into. So I think as I'm going through my threads, I would replenish. I wonder what that means. Shh, no, I shan't even try. But these work out at £1.24 per spool. I'd be quite happily to pay £3 per spool, and that's not including the lid as well. And if anybody wants to buy me a birthday present, and I've got a long way to go yet, as a gift for a sewer, you can't go wrong with thread, a quality thread, because it's one of those consumables that you need to replace and you need to replenish because you are going to use it because you can't sew without it. So I think any sewer would be very appreciative of a gift like this. So have a think about who's in your family, friends and family who sews. Are they the kind of people that they've already got everything? What do you buy somebody that's got everything? You can't go wrong with thread. You can't go wrong. You can't choose the wrong colour. You can choose the wrong brand, but not as far as Gutermann's concerned. It's a really good strong thread. Right, so that's the back in stock, and that's that. Shall we? Oh, what we're looking at? So I'm not even listening. I thought there was a frog in my ear. I'm hearing rivets, rivets. First time we've had these, isn't it? We've got a couple of rivet kits, and these are purely decorative, but the kind of things that you find on your pockets of jeans and things like that. If you're bag making, it's quite, I like a bit of hardware, a bit of metal work on my bags. I think it gives a very shop bought kind of look. So maybe on the straps, just above your D-rings, that would look very nice. Or if you've got any kind of trimming or tabs that you're putting onto your bag, that would look good too. The kind of rivets that you could put even on maybe a denim jacket, and to finish off pockets, that's a really classic way of using them. That's why I've got my hammer, if you were wondering, because that's how you put them on. I do have a rather large hammer, I have to say, for putting rivets on. And I've got an awl somewhere as well. Oh, I tidied things away, didn't I? There is an awl here somewhere. How'd you lose something like that? So what you, oh, here it is. Right next to me. So this is your tailor's awl, which is a spiky tool basically for making awls and things. But incredibly sharp, so if you are going through lots of layers of fabric, then this is perfect. So if you're going through something like denim or canvas or the like. Now I could do with something that it doesn't matter if there's a hole in it. No, nobody would know if there's a little hole in here, would they? Right, let's have a look at these then. So let's put it through a few layers, because that's normally what you do, or thicker fabrics maybe. Should we do the silver ones? Always a challenge. Very well sealed. I'm just trying to open them without them flicking all over the studio. That's right. I do like a sealable lid for little things like this as well. So they come in two parts, your innie and your outie. And there we go. So one of them's got the smooth head, and one of them's got like a little post. So we need to make the two meet. So all we're going to do is to make our hole, like so. I'm ready to spit. If you just joined us, oh, you're gonna have to look back over the previous hour. So that goes in there like so. Oops, push that through. Let me go through one layer. My fabric's a little bit thick. There, that's better. So that goes in there like that. There are instructions on the back of the packet, by the way. Oh, come on in. So you go in there. My hole keeps closing up. That will never do, will it? Have I got the right bits there? That goes in there, that goes in there. Yeah, so, oops, now it's gone. Make a bigger hole then, shan't I? Right, now you go in there. Look, it keeps closing up. I don't know why it keeps closing up, but it keeps closing up. Right. So let's try again. We'll do it that way. So that through there like that. Okay, right, we're in. And then we'll go that on there like that. And hang on, so we need to push that down on there like that, firmly. I'm just trying to make this look as difficult as I possibly can. All pushed together. And then we're going to give it a bash with a hammer on a piece of smooth cardboard. Right, you're going in now. Right, you're in there like that. So when you do this at home, it's going to happen first time. It'll be really quick, and you're going to have rivets all over the place. You're going to be having a spangled, fringed, Western-style jacket. They'll be all down the side of your trouser legs. You'll have them around your leggings. So you put that on the back of there, and then you whack it with a hammer. So that should clip in there like that. How long have we got on the show? 45 minutes to go then. In you go. Oh, it slipped out again. Nope. Nope. You can get them in the nickel or in the bronze. So this is the nickel option. A pair of pliers would probably be better than a hammer, wouldn't it? Go in there, and then you go down there. No, it's come out again. Should we move on? That in there. Or we could just sit here for half an hour and watch me try to get that in there. If anybody's got any tips, we did say we were going to look at hints and tips, did we not? And it's on. Yeah. So you can either go for the nickel, which is the silver finish, or you can go for the bronze. A smaller hammer may be preferable when you're doing something like that, honestly. It's a good job we're not live, isn't it? Then they're only £2.99. A small hammer would be preferable, I think, rather than the sledgehammer that I had this morning. Tailors All, have a look on the website if you want to get hold of one of those. That's a hemline Tailors All that we have for you, and that does click back over so you're not going to get rivets all over the place. Okay, that's that one then. That's gone back on again. There's my list of questions. Let's go back to questions. Right. Please could you, please could you advise, said Julie, the best overlocker to start with? Now, it depends on your budget. We have overlockers on the website, well, on the shows, on the channel, that are air thread overlockers, like the Elna one that we're looking at here. They are more expensive than one that's not an air threader, but they're easier to use. So as a beginner, if this is within your budget, then you've got a good buy here because it's going to be easier to thread than a regular overlocker. If you don't have this kind of budget, then just go for a regular one. But ease of use, an air threader is perfect. Inside here is the bit that scares people normally. It doesn't actually work with the door open, which is nice. You've got a safety valve on there. Everything is threaded by air, so all you're going to do is to feed through the two threads here. These are the two loopers, and let me turn this around so you can see it. With a standard overlocker, you'll have a lot of threading to do, and some of those threads need to go kind of inside the machine, so you can't get to them very easily. That's what I found on my first overlocker that I had, and it was a bit of a pain to do it. It put me off using it because I thought if I break a thread, it's going to be a nightmare. This is a completely different kettle of fish. So these are the two threads that can be problematic to thread when you're trying to get them behind here, but this is an air pumping system. So if I'm going to rethread, and I shan't do it right now, but it's really simple. So this lever here, if I'm rethreading, needs to go over to the left-hand side, and you can see tubes have shot across here now. If they don't shoot out straight away, then just turn the hand wheel towards you, and those little tubes will go in place. You can unswitch this at the mains if you're not too confident, but again, it won't work when the door's open at all. And then you need to choose which one of these you're going to thread first of all. I've got different coloured threads in here so that if we do get to sewing with it, you can see the role that the thread plays and where it goes and how it wraps around the edge of the fabric. But you always need to thread with the Elna in the same direction. So you'll start off with this thread and then move across and then go through to the two needles. So this button needs to come over and point at where it's going. And then this is a pump. So lift it up and it'll go doing, and your thread will start to shoot through and come out where it's supposed to be. So I've just pulled that a little bit loose and give it a pump. You'll see that kind of start to shoot through. So it's getting tighter. And I know it's already threaded, but that'll start coming out here. To thread the second one, you need to point this over at the second and do exactly the same. Make sure the tensions are engaged inside here. You can actually see them. and then the bottom is threaded. Then there are 2 needles on the front. You can use 2 or 1 needle, and that will give you a difference to the width of the stitches that you're making, but it also means that you can create a rolled hem as well. So this machine will take 4 threads, and you can either use 4 or 3 threads. It depends what kind of fabric you're using and how strong you need the seam to be. If I'm dressmaking, I'll always use 3 threads. If I'm doing a rolled hem, that's 3 threads. If I'm making something with very heavy fabric, maybe I'm making a coat or finishing seams off on something like canvas, then I'll use 4 threads because the seam's going to be stronger. A couple of things that this machine does as well, which I find really impressive, because I have this machine at home, is this. So with a lot of overlockers, if you wanted to make a rolled hem, so you need to adjust the tightness of the tensions, you'll need to adjust the tensions. Here, you can just go to standard or go to tight. It's as easy as that. What you'll also find as well, when you're doing a rolled hem, the way that it's going to work, this is a blade on the inside here. So this snips away the edge of your fabric as you're sewing, and then all of the threads wrap around the edge of your fabric to give you a really nice neat finish. If you're going to do a rolled hem on most overlockers, you'll go to rolled here, and then you'll need to take the blade down. You don't on this one, you can leave the blade up, so you can create a really perfect rolled hem of around about 1/8 of an inch in size and still trim off the edges of your thread as well. So that's something that is really special. You have a differential, which is over here with your stitch length, and basically that means that you can adjust the way that the feed dogs work. You've got 2 sets of feed dogs underneath here. So with the same machine you'll have 1. Here you can see there are 2. In an ideal world, they'll both feed the fabric through at the same rate, and it'll create a perfectly flat stitch. But sometimes fabric likes to argue back. It behaves in its own special way, and your stitches can become puckered. You can alter the speed at which these 2 feed dogs feed the fabric, so you can have the back one going a little bit faster than the front one and it'll pull your fabric flat, or you can have it the other way around, so it'll push the fabric in. And that then can be used to really stretch the fabric out, particularly with a stretched jersey, and create a fluted edge. It'll go all frilly around the edge, or you can push the fabrics up together and create a gather. So that's something that a lot of more affordable machines don't actually have. So again, as a beginner, if you can afford it, brilliant. Easy to use, really versatile. You will get a lot of use out of it. But if you are on a budget, then you'll be going for a machine that doesn't have those kinds of features. But that's a great starter, isn't it? So I hope that's helped, Julie. Oh, we've had one from Marion, and she says, please could you demonstrate how to apply eau de coat? Oh, now then, I've got some eau de coat to show you. There you go, and I can explain. So basically here, you have a gel, and this is going to laminate fabric for you. So it's a clear gel, and all you need to do is spread it on. So if you have a piece of cardboard, pour a little bit onto your fabric and then scrape it and spread it so you've got a nice even coating. It'll make your fabric waterproof. It won't make your fabric waterproof if you're then going to sew it. So what I would suggest you do is to coat afterwards. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you sew through it, then of course it's going to leave holes in there. So it'll take about 20 minutes to dry. And then you can add another coat if you wanted to make a thicker laminate in there as well. You can wash it. You can put it in the washing machine at a 30-degree wash if you wanted to. And it's suitable for, I'd say, any kind of woven fabric. So if you're making makeup bags, you want them to be wipeable. If it's the inside of a bag that you need to wipe out, I wouldn't say it's food safe. But things like children's aprons, if you just like that laminated kind of look, if you're making a tote bag, then this is perfect for you. So it's ever so easy, Marion. All you do is just spread it on. And we've got a special saving for you. You're saving £2 if you wanted to order that now. It's only £12.99. So we've done rivets. Have we had any more? Oh, Y seams we're going to do as well. And we've had a message from Susan about Y seams. She's got an excited husband who's waiting for me to demonstrate a Y seam. He started patchwork during lockdown. And has bought a sewing machine. Fabulous. Oh, she thinks I'm fun and professional. Thank you very much. Sometimes not, to be honest. Not the professional bit anyway. Village Fabrics. Grandma's biggest fans watching this morning. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, Ellen's loving the show this morning. Ordered the pattern from the first show. Has Debbie got any tips on getting a perfect circle for the moon? Or have we got any of the circle cutters in stock? Fiskars do a circle cutter. It's a bit like this, but circular. So it's got grooves in it, and it's got a blade that's like this, and you just slide it around the grooves. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, that one. So that's on the website. Have a look at that. That's Fiskars. Alan, that is such a great tip. Don't use a rivet. Use snap fasteners. They're easier to do. Absolutely. So again, if you've got any more questions, come on through. Oh, Y seams then. Okay, let's have a go at this. So a Y seam is basically if you're joining together your 60-degree diamonds to make a tumbling block, or if you're joining together hexagons, you'll have a seam that is that shape. So 1 down and 2 across. So you can't just sew in a straight line. You're going to have to stop, and you're going to have to mark your seam allowances, and you're going to have to be careful with it. That's one of the occasions why I love English paper piecing and doing that by hand. Because you always get the perfect points there. So let me see if I can find 3 reasonably contrasting strips of fabric. We had hundreds of these this morning. Got 20 left. So they're quite similar. Maybe that one. That will do. So I need to cut 3 60-degree diamonds. This has got suckers on the bottom to stop it slipping. So let's see if I can do these all in one go. Got 60 degrees on here. Yes, I have. There we go. Right. I wouldn't normally do them all together, to be honest. But you don't want to sit and watch me do this for more than we need to. Right, so I've got my Rotary Cutter, and I've got a little ruler. That will do. And I'm going to cut along that 60-degree. I'll use the ruler. I'll use one that's got a 60-degree mark on it. It went fine in rehearsal. Oh, Joyce has sent a tip. Hi, Joyce. She says, when dressmaking, if there's a pattern that she knows she's going to use a lot, she cuts it out using interfacing because she finds it easy to stick the pattern to. That's a good idea. All right, that's one 60-degree line. So that's that. And then where have we gone? There we are. Oh, we'll do it that way. So I've got 2.5 inch 60 degrees here. Right, now this is the way that I do it, okay. Different people have different ways, so there's probably going to be somebody tutting. But basically, these 3 join together like so, and that's the shape of the Y seam. You can see why it's called a Y seam. So what I do is to mark where I need to stop, because basically I'm going to sew my 1/4 inch along here, but stop a 1/4 inch at the end, so the end of the seam's open. 2 pieces are going to be very easy to sew together. It's getting the 3rd one in there that could be an issue. So I'm actually going to mark that again with my ruler, so I know exactly where I need to stop. I normally just put a dot in the corner, but I'm going to do the seam allowance as well, so you can see exactly where the intersection is. Normally with these kind of rolls as well, when you're measuring accurately, you should be measuring from the bottom of the point of the pinking. But if you do buy one of these rolls, just double check on that one by giving it a measure. So that's again where I'm going to sew. And that's where I'm going to stop, right at that point there. And let's do the final one here. Right, so I'd love to know what you're going to make with these white on white strips. There we go. And that's that. A wedding cord would be lovely, wouldn't it? Oh, Kat's producing today. We have Kat producing and Jo directing. And yeah, the Wilcoxes. They're not a couple, they're brother and sister, just in case you're wondering. So let's sew these together. So I'm going to put a pin in there, just to make sure it's flat. Oh, I was saying, wasn't I, that I wasn't just randomly saying, oh, Kat's producing. Kat wanted to buy these before they sold out last time because she fancied making a Bargello kind of wedding quilt. Wouldn't that be lovely? Right, so 1/4 inch seam allowance. This is one of those machines that you want to put the foot down all the time, but it kind of does it itself. I'm going to switch it off and on again so I can get the needle back to the centre point. So just to let you know, Yvonne, when you come back, I've moved your needle position because I actually draw on the line where I'm going to sew, so I know where that's going to go. So let's sew along here. My foot pedal's not going down now, honestly. I have the foot pedal. I have the foot pedal plugged in. I'm going foot down and it's beeping at me. So I'm going to slow right down as well because I want to stop exactly on that dot. This is something that obviously when you're doing this at home you don't have to be quite so slow and perfect. I'm just trying to show you clearly what I would do. So I get right up to that point and then just go backwards just a couple of stitches. So that's easy. But then I need to put the second piece in here. So again, let's put right sides together. So Chris and Susan watching. I know that my point there is where I need to stop sewing. So again, I'm moving this one out of the way because it's this side that I'm interested in at the moment. And I'm going to sew up to that spot again. So just move this out of the way. And when I get right onto the dot, so I don't want that to overlap, I'm going to go backwards a couple of stitches. Oops, I'll open that. And then I can do the final bit here. So all of those points are matching up. But again, important not to overlap the stitches. It's not the end of the world, stick a button on it. Or again, your unpicker is your best friend. So let's go right down to the dot, one more, and then back a couple of stitches. And then you should have perfect points in the centre. And that's so. It does work with the fabrics, doesn't it, for a tumbling block? Obviously you're not going to have a light behind you, so it's not going to be sheer. But that, I think, on top of some white wadding would look really good, wouldn't it? Okay, so that's that one. Well, at least that worked. Oh, Jan. Hi, Jan. Oh, Jan's ordered the table runner from the next hour, but there are different colourways. So you can either buy the pattern on its own, or you can buy the pattern with the fabric. Yeah, we'll have a look at that at the next hour, just to let you know. Any more questions, come and ask them. Right, what else have we got here? So why seems that's a tick. How do I insert a rivet into a fabric? I don't know. Advise overlock, we've done that one. Oh, Kath says, can I explain how to use an overlocking foot? I think it's an overlocking foot for a sewing machine, and I'll be perfectly honest with the cast, I've never used one. But if anybody else has used an overlocking foot on their sewing machine, can you come and let us, do they work? Never used one. So an overlocking foot for a sewing machine has a blade on the side that is supposedly working in the same way as your overlocker would do, so it trims away the fabric. Because I've got an overlocker, I've not tried one of those, but you do come and let us know. Oh, Sheena. Oh, she's desperately in love with her overlocker, but she doesn't even know I'm alive. Oh, Sheena. Right, I'm a different size now. Now I am taking after an apple. I've done a bit of that. I've gone through quite a few fruit over my many years. I've been, you know, banana shape. I was celery when I was younger. I mean, that was great. But yeah, apple, yeah, getting that way. I've in fact got that way a long time ago. The part I find difficult is choosing which neckline is the correct fit, mostly on higher round necks, which is the best way of getting this right, then integrating it into the rest of the pattern, please. Right. This is a difficult question to answer unless I've seen the pattern and seen your shape. But normally when a neckline is gaping or it's not fitting properly, it's because it's not fitting around the bust, so you've probably got a fuller bust. So the way that you're going to adjust it is you're going to make yourself a toile to start with, and then if it's gaping, if it's going baggy, or is it a crossover, is it a V-neck, you're going to pin it out. So you'll pin in the gaps, you'll pin in the difference around the neckline, and then take the point that you're pinning down to the apex of the bust. So if you've got dots on the bust, you're going to take those pins in, make it nice and flat, make it fit, and head those pins down towards the apex of the bust. Then you'll have to increase the size of the dart at the side, because if you imagine you're taking in a pattern, you're pinching a pattern, you're making it three-dimensional, patterns are flat, so you need to open it out in another part to compensate for that. So it is quite simple to do, but it isn't quite simple to explain it. So what I'm going to suggest you do is have a look on YouTube, and there is a lady called Annika, and her channel is called Made to Sew. So she's a British lady, she's based in Australia, and she has everything dressmaking on there, from full bust adjustments to drafting your own patterns and all kinds of things. So I'd suggest you do that, have a good old look through the Tinternet. Oh, hi Joyce. Joyce says, please could you advise on how to assemble a cutting mat, which I recently purchased from you. I can't seem to put it together without the centre plastic pivot dropping out, and I've been unable to find a tutorial. This is the one you meant. Go up the way. And it does come in two pieces. So we have the centrepiece is raised a little bit, and that's it on the top. The centre bit does tend to pop out sometimes when you lift it up, but when it's on the flat surface, it should just stick out like that, and then you put the second part on the top. So if you do find that when you lift the whole thing up, your centre bit drops out, we've put tape on the bottom of ours to hold it in place. Mine at home doesn't do that. It clicks in very nicely, but we do have ours moving around quite a lot. So that's just a little tip for you. Put a bit of tape on the bottom. There we go. So that was that one. Oh, we've got bias binding today, haven't we? Somewhere. There's such a mess in here. It's nice. It's a very narrow bias binding, so this is going to be perfect if you're dressmaking. If you wanted to put some tape around pockets and collars and reveres and things like that, because when you fold it in half, it's only 1/4 of an inch wide, so you get a very narrow outline to your work. It's polycotton, but it's nice and crisp. So this is the kind of bias binding that I like to use because it does crease really easily, and that's the kind of thing that we wanted. So we've got a couple of colours for you, and there is 2.5 metres on each one. So this is obviously canary yellow, or you can go for this lovely colour red, burgundy kind of colour. So if you just wanted a small trim, then that is perfect for you. So it's not the kind of thing you're going to put around the edge of a quilt or anything with lots of layers to it, but if you have a pocket, maybe it's a pocket across the front of a bag or something like that, then that would just work really nicely, just to give that nice outline. So again, that's £1.49, brand new for you today. I wouldn't pay £3.95 postage when I'm only paying £1.49, would you? But you're only going to pay £3.95 postage all day. So if you come back later, or if you've bought something already and thought, actually, that's a good price, isn't it? £1.49. If you order anything between 8 o'clock in the morning and midnight tonight, you only pay one postage for the whole day. So that makes it a little bit more worthwhile, doesn't it? Right, that's that one. Kerry's emailed in. Hi, Kerry. Say that one again. Shall she? Oh, she didn't go for the overlocking foot that we were talking about. She's already bought herself an overlocker. I think as an overlocking foot, I would imagine it takes the thread around the edge of the fabric and trims it off, and that's fine if that's what you want. But an overlocker can do a flat lock stitches, 4 threads, 3 threads. It can stretch fabric, it can gather fabric, you can do rolled hems. There's so much more you can do with your overlocker. So certainly if you're a dressmaker or if you're working with stretch fabrics, then an overlocker is going to be ideal. Sharon wanted to know, could I explain the difference between zips, closed end and open end, and when do we need each one? This came through to me early this morning, so I haven't brought a whole load of zips in with me to answer that for you. I have got some on the website. An open-ended zip is the kind of zip that you'd have on a jacket or a cardigan. So literally when you take the slider down to the end of the zip, a bar comes out and it opens up. That's all it is. That's an open-ended zip. It's in 2 halves. So a closed-end zip is all the rest of your zips. So that is a closed-end zip. It'll have the stopper across the bottom to stop the end coming off. An open-ended zip, again, will have a little bar down there and a section for that to slip into. You know, like you've got on your anorak, that kind of thing. This is just a standard zip. So this is the type of zip that you would have in a skirt, on the side seam of a skirt, for a centered zip, for a cushion cover, and if you're going to put a zip into a fly, that kind of thing. And the size, if you've ever seen zips by sizes, they're normally N3 or N5. That's number 3, number 5, and that's basically 3mm, which goes from one side of the zip coil to another, or 5mm are the big chunky zips that you might want to use if you're making bags and things like that. The anatomy of a zip: you have your pull, you have your slider, you have your stop, you have your tape, you have your coil. And it is a coil because on nylon zips like this, it literally wraps around and around. If I was to pull one of those teeth out, it would literally be one long piece of nylon. So that's a standard zip. This one is an invisible zip. So in this case, the coil is on the back. That's the wrong side. So from the front, the coil is completely enclosed, and you can normally tell an invisible zip at first glance because it has a teardrop shaped pull on the slider. They're not all like that, but 99% of them will have that shape of pull. And the idea with these is, it shouldn't even matter what colour zip you're using in your fabric. You don't see those in a seam at all. So you'll see those in dresses and in skirts. And this one is a zip with teeth. So a metal zip, obviously. But unlike the coil that's on these teeth that goes round and round and round, these are individual teeth that have been clamped onto the tape at the side. So I tend to use nylon zips because I can cut into them. You don't cut into these unless I'm replacing a zip in a pair of jeans or something like that. Or maybe you want to use it as a decorative zip so you can see the teeth, and maybe I'd use a metal one there. But with metal zips you have to, I think, buy exactly the right size for your project. With nylon zips, I'll buy them way too long and cut them down to size. 2 reasons: that means that I can move all of the metal wear out of the way while I'm sewing, so I'm not risking sewing over those metal stoppers. And the second one is, if I've got a long zip, I know I can cut it down to any size that I like. If I need a long zip and I've only got 6-inch zips, I can't do anything about it. And there's not normally very much difference in price with different sizes of zips, so I tend to go for long ones. So I hope that's helped there. We do have some zips on the website. So if you want to take a look on sewingstreet.com, this is what you'll find. So all you need to do in that search bar at the top is to put zips. And there you go. That's where they all came up for a second. So zips, enter. Oh, we've got a concealed zip foot. And there you go. Oh, there's the zips that we have. So, and they're only a couple of pounds. They're not very much. One needs its photograph taking, doesn't it? So that's a little bit of zippage. Have you got any tips for me? Anything that you can educate everybody with? It'd be nice to hear from you. So I'm just on Facebook at the moment. We must be doing everything right. We've got no questions come through there. Or Sewing Street, studio@sewingstreet.com. Easy cutting with rotary cutters. That's another thing we get a lot of questions about. These things are very, very sharp. So if you're a little bit wobbly with your hands, you may be nervous about using a rotary cutter. This is absolutely not mine, it's the studio's, as you can tell. But I use an Alpha rotary cutter. I use exactly this one. It's just because that's what I've always used and that's what I'm used to. So to cut with a rotary cutter, you are using a ruler, you're using a very sharp blade, you're putting a little bit of pressure. A lot of people can get nervous about this, and again, particularly if you are a little bit shaky. And it does take a bit of practice to get it perfect. So if you're fine with that, brilliant. If you're not, we've got a solution for you. Because this is a rotary cutter and ruler all in one. It's left or right-handed. If you're using a rotary cutter, you are allowed to cut away from you. Never, 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 ever, ever come back, turn around anywhere that's going to be pointing towards you. Never, 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 don't do it, don't do it. But with this blade you can go backwards and forwards. So if I'm cutting my strips again, because we've got our 45, 30 and 60 degree markings on here, so I could cut my my triangles and my 60 degree diamonds and the like on here. Let's have a look at how we do that. 60 degrees is across that way. So line that up, 60 degrees here, press down, cut. How easy is that? And then we can just turn around 2 inches wide. Thank you very much, press down, cut. Oh, that was a bit long. That wasn't 2.5 inches, was it? Do it again. And then you've got your perfect cut. So you don't have an exposed blade. It's all underneath there. So, I mean, it's very sharp. It's a rotary cutter blade. It's a 45mm rotary cutter blade, but it's only when you actually press down, and it doesn't take very much pressure, that the blade is released. So if I wanted to trim strips for any reason, I can trim that way, and I can trim that way. And I can trim through many layers of fabric as well, and I know that I'm always going to have that perfect cut. So maybe a little bit wasteful, but let's see how many we can do. So, I'm just cutting randomly, so a bit of pressure on here. Right, and I've gone over that 2 ways, and that is 1, 2, hold the line, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 layers of fabric with 2 swoops. And really not a lot of pressure, not as much pressure as I would have used with my rotary cutter. So again, with the ruler, as you can see, excuse me, you have your 30, you've got your 45 degrees if you're cutting bias binding. That's going to be really simple for you. You've got a 60 degree angle, so now you're talking about your tumbling blocks. You've got markings on here in the dark and in the light colours, and that means that it'll stand out against any colour. So if you're cutting out dark fabric, you can see your 1/8 of an inch increments, and you've got the diagonal lines outlined as well. As soon as I put that onto light fabric, you can see the dark colours standing out. So it doesn't matter if it's dark, light or patterned, you're going to be able to see the markings on there really, really clearly. And to store, it's got a handle at the side, so you don't need to take the blade off to store it, you don't need to lock it out or anything like that. All you're going to do is to just hang it up and put it out of the way. So again, it's £64.99. Just takes regular 45mm blades in there, so you don't need to buy anything special when it comes to replacing the blades. And it's left and right-handed, because all you're doing is sliding it up and down. And you can cut towards you, which you are allowed to do with this one. Right. Oh, Brenda sent a message in. She's on Facebook. She said, where is she? Botties and spitting, she says, hysterical, just catching up and I nearly spat my coffee all over myself laughing. It's predictive text, isn't it? Was that Morag again yesterday morning, said she was possed. And it was very early in the morning. I think she'd been on the sherry. Poised, I think she meant. But yeah, knitted botties, they were very nice. Harold's messaged in as well. About the overlocking foot, has he got one? Bit fiddly to get started, but they do work. But it's not a replacement for an overlocker, apparently. So they help with the odd seams that need a tidy up, but not a replacement for an overlocker. Thank you for that. Sean, buy one then. Kathleen says, hi Debbie, hi Kathleen. From the Scottish borders. It took her a few seconds to try and understand how my cat was producing today. And then the penny drop is cat, Catherine. She's a person. She's a proper person. She's got her pyjamas on today. She came in this morning and said, oh, you look nice. She's got a jumpsuit on. She said, I think it's pyjamas. It looks very nice, very nice. She's lounging in the gallery. It's the office upstairs, actually, but lounging today. Lounging. Oh, right. The Gutermann thread back in stock set. They're going very, very quickly. In fact, we don't even have 30 left. Considering we had hundreds of these, that's not a lot that's actually left. Gutermann threads are one of the threads that I do like to use a quality thread. Polyester threads are very strong threads. A sew-all thread, as these are called, Gutermann have designed to sew anything. So I don't personally have an issue with using polyester with cotton or cotton thread with polyester or mixing synthetic fabrics with natural threads, because I think nowadays they all very much work in the same kind of way. But a sew-all thread is polyester. So polyester thread is strong and it's colour fast and it's not going to shrink. If you're making something and you're going to dye it, it won't take the dye. That's the only downside, I think, from using a polyester. It's got a nice matte finish and it's 50 weight, which is going to be the weight that most of you use for most of your projects. And I love this whole rainbow of colours. I just think it's so nice to have the perfect colour for whatever you want to make. There's a couple of whites in there as well, because they're probably going to be the ones that you use most of all. And it keeps everything nice and neat and tidy, particularly if you don't have space. I have my threads on those June Taylor posts, and I've got 5 of them and they're all full. But we don't all have the luxury of having wall space to hang our threads on. So this keeps nice, tidy, organised, fit in a drawer. Now, including your P&P and the tin and everything, £1.33 per spool. I would quite happily go into a fabric store and pay £2.99 for one of those. So that is really good value for money. And of course you can replenish because you've got this gorgeous tin. And I said earlier on, if you want to buy somebody who sews a gift, what better gift could you buy than thread? You can't always choose somebody's fabric for them, or their projects, or their patterns, but you can't go wrong with a quality thread. I think any sewer would be absolutely over the moon to receive this. So treat yourself and treat somebody else for Christmas as well. Because after all, it's Boxing Day today, isn't it? We've had Christmas from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so it makes sense today is Boxing Day. So I'm reckoning that next Sunday is New Year's. Oh, right, we've got loads of messages. We've got 3 minutes. Zena says, please can you clarify is steaming craft weight cotton enough to prevent shrinkage? I would say for the most part, yes. To be honest, most fabrics nowadays aren't going to shrink. It's just the way that they've been treated. If I'm dressmaking or if I'm making something that I really am a little bit worried about, I'm more worried about fabrics being colour fast, to be honest. then I'd wash first of all. I mean, it's worth it, because then you know that it's definitely not going to shrink. But if I'm impatient, and to be honest, when you wash a fabric, it takes away some of the starches, the way it's been manufactured, and you lose the crispness. I like working with the crisp fabric personally, so I will give my fabric a blast of steam. And if it'll take hot steam, then it's going to take any kind of temperature that washing will do as well. So I think that would be a jolly good idea. So unless you're making a dress and you're a little bit concerned about any kind of shrinkage there. We've had a tip from Helena. Hi, Helena. She says, oh, she's been told that using walnut shells in a pincushion can be used to keep them sharp. I'm assuming crushed walnut shells is what you mean. Yes, absolutely. That's a great idea. But make sure they're crushed up so they're in quite a fine powder, because if you just got a walnut shell, you're not going to get a pin in there, and it won't make any difference at all. But yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. I think we've had. Have we worked through everything? We have got some chalk pencils. And a quick mention of chalk pencils. Back in stock chalk pencils really quickly. These, I love these. I like chalk pencil. I use a lot of for a lot of projects I don't use a friction pen, but if I'm marking something in an area like a dart on a dress that I'm at risk of seeing that mark, I don't want to use a friction pen just in case it stains or bleaches my fabric. So then I'll use a chalk pencil. But look at all of the different colours you've got here. There's 17 in here altogether. So you've got a colour that's going to stand out against anything, and you've got a pen, and it's like a clicker pen. So you can just, well, you pull that down a little bit, and it's just mess free. It's really, really easy. You've even got a pencil sharpener in there, so you've got a really nice point. But you brush this away. So I love those things. If I'm doing something like smocking, I won't use chalk pencil because my hands are going to brush it away as I'm sewing. But for anything else, particularly with dressmaking, and I know a lot of quilters don't like to use any kind of ink on their projects either, so that's perfect for you. And have a look for the refills there as well. May as well while we've got them. It's going to take you a while to get through any kind of the ones that you've got here, but at least you know that you've got more on standby there. All right, we've got Yvonne coming up in the next hour. Do stay with us for the next hour. She's brand new to Sewing Street, and she's got some amazing projects for you.
Would you like to take part in our weekly competition? If you do, then all you have to do is head to the Sewing Street fan page group on Facebook. Post your picture of your make. Myself, Debbie Shaw, and John Cole Morgan love looking at all of your makes every week. We pick our favourite and announce the winner every Friday live on the show. Happy sewing and good luck. If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Hello everyone, I'm Darphine Brooks. It's so great to be here and part of the Sewing Street family. I'm local, I'm only down the road in Warwickshire. I started sewing many years ago when I was very young, doing lots of art and painting, and eventually I went into textiles, and I really enjoyed doing the two together. I then had a bit of a break. Something you don't know about me maybe is that I spent many years in the Royal Air Force and eventually in the police as well. And then I went full circle and I've come back to my happy place of sewing, and which I really enjoy. My best sewing tip is measure twice and cut once. I have chipped up a couple of times by not measuring properly, and I do always regret it. So now I always measure twice, cut once. Anyway, I really hope to be with you again soon, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer, and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Hi everyone, my name's Faye and I'm going to be joining the Sewing Street team as one of their guest designers. I work as a professional dressmaker. You can see here you've caught me in the middle of making a petticoat for a wedding dress here in my workroom in North Yorkshire. I started off in fashion design, studied that at college, and then I actually made the move into costume. So I've actually spent several years making costumes, quite high-end costumes for both television and theatre. So hopefully with that professional experience I'm best placed to give you some advice on how to get the best results with your sewing and to show you some really interesting techniques. So it would be great if you could join us for that if you're an avid dressmaker, and I look forward to seeing you.
If you'd like to get in touch with us during our live show and send in any messages or any questions, then you can do it on studio@sewingstreet.com. Alternatively, you can message us on our official Facebook page.
Welcome back again, and Yvonne's back with us again, and one more time you've put together some beautiful kits and fabrics for us.
Thank you.
This is the table runner. We've got a couple of options for you. You can go for the kit or you can go just for the pattern if you wanted to use your own fabrics. But look at those fabrics, aren't they gorgeous?
These are all Moda fabrics.
Are they?
Yeah, one of the Kansas Troubles design house fabrics, so that's why we call this Kansas table runner. But yeah,
it's really rich colours, aren't they? That is so pretty. There you go. So £19.99 for the kit. You're going to need your own backing fabric and wadding again, aren't you?
Yes, but everything you see on the front is in the kit.
And of course your instructions there as well. So this is what you're going to get. So those are your instructions and beautiful fabrics. All picked perfectly for you, all complementing each other wonderfully, and all really lovely quality there as well. So that's £19.99. If you've just joined us, we've been ever so busy this morning again, and it's not even Christmas now, it's Boxing Day now, but it has been very busy. So if you've been thinking about any of the kits that you've seen already, or the fabrics or the pattern on its own, then please go through to check out as quickly as you can. These were actually selling yesterday. So, so that's the kit. If you want to go for the pattern on its own, then you can do, which is that one. So if you have fabrics in your stash already, or you wanted a different colourway, then all of your instructions are here. And in fact, you've got some samples in different colours, haven't you?
Yeah, well, one on either side.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about these two is that we have used patterned fabrics in different places on them, so you get a really different effect. So
yes.
you have the 9 patch, but then the setting triangles, you've got this nice big floral, well, leaf design there, where on here really is just more of a blank canvas here, and you see the 9 patches going through there more effectively.
Have a play with them again.
Yeah.
And then finally you have your Home is Where the Heart Is quilt. This is lovely. And again, we've got another quite simple design. I think if you're a beginner quilter, actually making a quilt can be the daunting thing.
It can be very intimidating. These are not too big. They're very manageable to get under your sewing machine in different sections, or whenever it comes to doing the quilting, they still are not too big to put under a standard sewing machine.
You do this by hand?
Some of it. Some of it, not all of it.
You are so neat.
I like to hand sew.
Yeah, I like hand sewing.
But yeah, I love to do the mixture. I don't like sewing straight lines by hand. That's what the sewing machine is for. But whenever it comes to putting the extra little embellishments on, that's whenever the fun begins with with blanket stitch or just some hand stitching or a bit of embroidery. Yeah, it's just.
To be honest, the very the curved areas of the hearts and the way that you've outlined those with a running stitch, you couldn't do that on a machine. You couldn't be so accurate on a sewing machine, could you?
No. Well, I couldn't. I certainly couldn't.
No, I couldn't.
But that's one of the things I'm hoping I'm going to show you whenever we get to that part of the just how you can build it. You can build the texture up.
So where do you want to start?
I think I want to start with the table runner.
Okay.
When I started the last hour, I started that off with showing you how to do a very simple 9-patch. Well, I'm going to do exactly the same thing again here and show you how to do a 9-patch. But this time we have a combination of colours in these 9 blocks. So we've gotten 3 colours. We have this red that runs right the way along the table runner. Then we have a light or a neutral tone, and then we have some green on either side. So that means there are 3 fabrics in each 9-patch, which means you need to lay out the little blocks so that you make sure you have them going in the right direction. So again, the way that I always do these things is I lay them out, I check them, I pick them up, so I lay it back down again. Even then, I managed to turn them do a half turn, and I have to unpick. But it is by far the most sensible way is to lay it out beside your sewing machine, pick one bit up at a time, sew it, press it, check it, pick up the next bit. Debbie's chuckling here because she's obviously done the same thing.
Yep.
So again, we simply have 3 strips because I have joined my 2.5-inch squares together. I'm going to stitch these together, and the really interesting bit is not this. It's not putting the 9-patch together, but I'm doing exactly the same technique. I have pressed to the dark side. I am rolling my seam allowances down, nesting them up into each other. I'm popping the pins in to hold the seam allowances flat as I stitch. But the important bit and interesting bit is whenever it comes to the setting triangles. We are actually going to cut some triangles, which of course means we're going to have some bias edges.
Oh yeah, oh yes.
Yes, and the makeup of this runner, the details are all in the kit. You are going to join it up on the diagonal. So let me just bear with me as I.
So just so it's only if you cut any kind of fabric on a diagonal, it has a tendency to stretch.
Okay, I don't have a 1/4-inch seam on.
Oh,
here,
sorry.
do I?
Oh, I did.
What we're going to do now? Do we need to call for assistance?
If we have a look at the picture that David sent in.
Oh, that's a good plan.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
There we go, look. Hello, Debbie. Yvonne's Homeland here. All her friends and customers are watching this morning, and this is just one of Yvonne's wall hangings just completed. She says it's a great show and very informative, and that's David in Belfast. That is beautiful, David. What lovely colours they are. I'm just having a really, really close look there. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Thank you.
Well, David, thank you. No doubt I will talk to you soon. We have a great bit of crack whenever he gives us a call. And actually the rest of my staff are learning to speak a bit of Belfast as well. So that's great.
So really easy to set to the 1/4-inch seam allowance there, as you can see.
Magic. Absolute magic.
Yeah. Thanks, David. Do you personally always pin?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be so used to doing it.
No. It's basics, and I always pin. I always pin. Now, the thing here is, I've joined these two together. Now I've got to make sure I get that red one going there, not there. So, same again, and again, I'm putting the pins in. As I said earlier, I'm not a gadget girl, but there are certain things that I do think are very useful tools. These flower-headed pins are one of them. Absolutely need sharp scissors. There's no point in having scissors that are blunt. Same with rotary cutter blades.
Yeah.
They're dangerous, but they're much easier to work with and less, actually probably safer whenever they are sharp.
There is nothing better than your first cut with a new rotary cutter blade.
And you say to yourself, why didn't I change that
Yeah.
weeks ago, or at least days ago?
But it's the same with changing the needle in your machine, isn't it?
Oh, I always say after about 8 hours sewing. And, you know, if you've been quilting, then maybe even sooner, because the wadding blunts the blade.
So if you can't remember the last time you changed your needle, you should probably go and do it.
Yeah, probably something wrong with it. It starts to make a different sound. The sewing machine sort of it sort of punches through as opposed to piercing through. Couldn't agree more.
You can understand why so many people find sewing therapeutic, can't you?
Oh, it's that rhythm, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's so satisfying. You know, when you turn your work over for the first time, if this is the first quilt you've ever made, and all of those points match up perfectly.
Oh, isn't it such a relief?
Yeah. It's a relief.
I think I might have to. I do want to give this a little press.
Knock it up.
And
I don't know if the iron's on, but it heats up really quickly.
It's on.
Oh, you got the big one. Oh, lovely.
Well, I'm not going to comment on that because you'll just giggle, I know. But yes, at home I use a standard iron, though the little ones can be very useful. It's habit. Now, what I wanted to do, I want to show you how to cut the square, and then to cut the square into triangles, because you're setting these 9 patches on point using setting triangles. And one of the, I'm going to call it a tool because I use it, not a gadget, that I think is very useful when you're cutting triangles, is this rotating mat.
Oh yeah.
I first heard them referred to as Boston revolvers.
Oh really?
Well, obviously an Americanism. And so it's sort of stuck with me, but I think they are a really useful item. Now, the thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to need 2 rulers for this. You got a small ruler there? That'll do.
Is that right?
That one will do.
We have smaller ones if you want me to get you one.
I want to cut a 6 7/8 inch square, because of course you're into 8s whenever you're cutting on.
Okay, I've got a little
diagonals.
Too small.
Is that 6 7/8? Well, it'll get me 6 1/2, and I can add a little bit on.
Yeah.
I can add a little bit on, can't I, with my thank you. You can come back as an assistant. That would be absolutely wonderful. So I get 6 inches with my ruler, and I want 7/8 there. So 7/8 is just one little mark below the inch. So there we go. First thing to do is always cut the square. Now I'm using 2 rulers. I'm not using the mat, other than to use it to sort of get myself at a right angle, because these mats are wonderful, but they're not as accurate as these rulers are. They're not out by much, but they can be out just enough to make it a problem. So I have cut this, and I should have actually cut it on here, because the really wonderful thing is I can then just do that. I don't have to start replacing, replacement of the piece. Now, on your whichever set of rulers you have, you will see that you have 45-degree angles, 30s, 60s. They do have a use. They're not there for decoration. So look, if you do that, I'm going to find that this isn't, yep, there we go. I have my 45-degree line along there, and I've got my position to cut across here, and I know that my triangle is going to be a triangle.
Oh, Yvette's messaged in. Hi, Yvette. And she says, oh, good morning, Debbie and Yvonne. Just to say, I'm so pleased to see one of my favourite people in your studio. I'm a long-term customer of Yvonne and her wonderful kits. And thanks to her and Rosie for keeping me in kits during lockdown. You were very good to your customers, actually, weren't you? Because you were saying earlier you put their orders in paper bags outside the store.
We were very grateful. Well, my Rosie elf is just wonderful. She stayed at work throughout in our building by herself, so nice and safe, and answered the telephone. And Yvette lives in this area. She's not down where my shop is in Oxford. She's in the Birmingham area. I can't quite remember. But anyone who was local to us in Wallingford was able to give us a quick telephone call. Rosie would answer it. We'd take the order, payment over the phone, pop it into a paper bag and put it in our big red box just outside our door, so that whenever people were out on their constitutional, on their daily exercise, they could pick up the basics that they needed. And as lockdown went on, those items became bigger and more extensive. And thankfully, as I say, very loyal clientele was very happy to be able to say thank you to them earlier, and we do appreciate it.
And it's so lovely to hear from so many of you as well this morning.
They're a good bunch.
Yeah.
They're a good bunch. So we're now putting these 9 patches on point, and that's where we're using our setting triangles. And the diagram in the instructions and in the pattern will show you that you are putting these together like this, see? And that is actually an end section. So we've just added 1 triangle onto that. As if I just perhaps pull that in, you can see that the end of the table runner has that.
Yep.
So with the one that goes beside it is there. So I'm going to pull that along. So with this one, I need to be adding a triangle to there. And of course, I'll need one on the other side of it as well. And that is going to go like that. And that is how it's assembled. Now, because you've got your biased edges on the outside, the less you press this part, the better. Or indeed, a little drop of spray starch is a good plan.
That's a good idea.
Just so that well, this one's a little bit wavy. It has been in a bag. So that's why we put a little frame around here, and that just stabilizes it before we put a wider border on. Whenever it comes to putting these setting triangles on, well, the first thing was to make sure that I had these in the right line.
Yeah.
Because I did do that. That was where I went wrong. Actually making these part samples up. I thought, okay, not a good plan. So we're starting with the edges that we know are square. So our bottom edge here with the seam allowances, I'm going to put a pin through again, keep that seam allowance flat. Equally, whenever you are putting something through where there's 1 bit against 3 bits, I would put the 3 bits down so that the feed dogs are going to take them through evenly, a little bit more evenly than the top edge does. Right. Again, I would do it that way round. If I had a little bit more fabric on the bottom, it just lets it go through a little bit more easily. Just, something that you learn over the years whenever things aren't quite as you would expect them to be.
We had a question in the last hour about basically pre-washing or steaming your fabric before you sew. Would you pre-wash before you quilt?
No, I wouldn't tend to. It does depend. They're outside factors, really. It's if it was going to be for a baby, might think about making sure the fabrics were pre-washed. If it was a high contrast, if I was doing a red and white quilt, I'm going to wash that red fabric. Yeah. But as a rule, I like the crispness that you get. Like though, again, if you have very sensitive skin, then perhaps you want to wash the fabrics, because the dye processes, they're not kind, those the chemicals that they use. Yeah. But I tend not to. I like that nice crisp. And then whenever I press, I get that nice crisp edge that I'm looking for. I see, I'm being good, Debbie. I'm taking pins out as I go.
You don't want me tutting at you again?
No.
Now we've got the details on your screen for the kit, so that's with the fabric. You're going to back in fabric and wadding. We have less than 20 of those remaining now. You can just go for the pattern on its own if you prefer, if you've got your own fabrics or you want a different colourway. And that is £7.50.
Okay, so that is one piece attached. So see, I'm putting it back, checking that I've got which edge of which triangle I'm putting where. So that is going to go on there.
If you're going to use this as kind of a working table runner, would you use a thermal wadding? If I thought I was going to
leave it on the table and put some dishes on it, yes, I would. Some kind of insulating wadding. Again, you don't want anything puffy. Yeah. You want something flat. I think I might just have put an 80-20 in here.
I think I wouldn't let you put pans on it, personally.
Well, that's it, you see. That's why I hesitated a little bit, because most people are saying, oh, not putting dish on that. Yeah. But, yeah, I do find that the insulating waddings they stay where you put them, so they're quite easy to quilt through. The same with the 80-20. You want something that is quite flat, I know. But look. You see, I'm not racing along at this. We're going that nice steady rhythm that just relaxes everybody. One hopes anyway. Yeah, that's it.
Our 80-20 details on your screen now, that's by the half metre. We only have 5.5 metres left. And I think a lot of you are going to be ordering more than half a metre at a time. So just to let you know, might be another sellout.
What, half a metre is ample for this, because what width is this?
It was half a metre by...
this is 14 inches.
Oh,
so your half metre is going to be fine, because that would be 20 inches. So that would be just what you need to do one of these. And it's, I've forgotten how long it is. Is it 50 inches long? So right. And then we are simply joining stuff together. I will do one of these because, as always, I prefer what I'm going to do in the second half of the half of the show to the first. But if you are a beginner sewer, then you can now do a 9 patch. You can cut a square using your ruler and your rotary cutter to make a half square triangle. You know that you can now attach that onto a 9 patch, and suddenly you have things going on point, which is always a really interesting way to lay a quilt out. Just gives you different perspective to straight lines. And yes, I am pinning all the way along here through all my seam allowances. This is really one of the times where the more haste, the less speed, you know. Take your time, pin this down. Make sure that you are all aligned.
It's all part of the enjoyment, though, isn't it? It's these aren't the kind of projects that you'd want to rush. You know, I'll quickly make a table runner. That isn't what's enjoyable about projects like this.
No, I agree with you. I would, and I will. I would normally nip those little ears off. You just don't want them bulking up your seams.
What's the most challenging quilt you've ever made?
The one that I hated making, does that count?
Yeah.
I know many people love foundation piecing. It's their thing. It's not my thing. And I thought, well, now just give this a try. I made a whole quilt foundation piecing. Just sort of a bit of punishment to myself, I think. I hated it. I still hate foundation piecing. I can see the reason why. And I've made Mariner's Compass, which you've got to foundation piece, but it's not for me. So that was the one I hated. The one that my children refer to as my third child, I've only got 2 daughters, is one that's called Images of Japan. And it's the first block of the month that I designed myself.
Right.
And it has 27 different images in different size blocks of Japan. And there are koi carp and temples, all kinds of things that I so enjoyed doing. There's an embroidered willow tree in the middle of it. And that has a bit of me in it. You know, sometimes some of these are just sewing squares together. But whenever you go on a little bit more and you do a little bit of designing yourself, then a bit of you starts to go into them. And Images of Japan doesn't live in the shop, it lives in my house. It occasionally goes out for talks, so it does travel a little bit.
Have you been to Japan?
Yes, I was lucky enough to go. It was maybe 4 years ago now.
I'd love to go.
It's a wonderful place. Absolutely. I was in Kyoto, which is the ancient capital, but went on the bullet train, and because of my background, because I was a civil servant for many years, part of the Ministry of Defence, it was wonderful, is maybe not quite the right word, to go to Hiroshima and see what had happened there. To visit some of the temples. A truly wonderful experience. Very long way away. I wish it was closer. I would go more often if it was closer.
It's one of those places on my wish list. Whether it'll ever happen or not, I don't know.
Well, this was it with me a few years ago, and I thought, you know, maybe it's time to take 1 or 2 of these things off the wish list.
Yeah.
Or off the bucket list, maybe. maybe it's the bucket list. So, hopefully, say it with confidence, this is now lined up. So, that is what you're doing. You are joining on the diagonals, okay? And that is how you can make 9 patches look a little bit more interesting, because you've got your 3 colours, you're putting them on point, and you can either put a plainish fabric around here, or you can do a little bit of applique in here. With these colours, this could become Christmas. You could just put a couple of holly leaves here, for example. Use your imagination. But that is how the Kansas table runner goes together. And we have, this is the colourway in the kit. In the past, I've made a couple of ones that are more, maybe easier to live with. They're not quite so busy fabric-wise. Yeah.
Well, you've got two choices. You can either go for the kit with the motor fabrics that Yvonne's using here.
Yeah.
So that's £19.99. Or you can go for the pattern on its own and choose your own fabrics. And that's just £7.50. So what are we doing next?
Well, if I move this out of the way and bring this one up, we're going to do the Home is Where the Heart Is, which is this little applique project. There are never enough walls for things, so this could become a cushion cover if you wanted.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Or, well, I think it would be quite nice on the door to your sewing room.
Yes.
Right, let me... So as always, our kit has full-size templates inside it and layout sheets.
I think that the door to my sewing room is actually the door to the house.
Yeah,
I
would have difficulty knowing which door to put it on, because my dining room, and I have also another area for that I do sew in, and then there's where the fabric's kept. That's somewhere else as well, and that's not my shop. Well, there's that as well. But what I thought I would do, if I could find the right pieces in the right order, was talk a little bit about applique.
Okay.
Applique or applique, however one pronounces it, with whichever accent. Whenever you are doing small pieces and you're applying Bondo web behind them, it doesn't matter too much because you're not going to layer stuff on top of them. Whenever it comes to something like the outline of the house here, this is quite a big piece that you are then putting a door on top of. This one particularly, you have a little window and on top of your background, and then you have a little heart on top of that. So effectively you can have 3 layers of fabric with Bondo web behind each of them, and that gets a bit stiff. And I don't like my quilts to be stiff, I like them to be nice and soft. So the way that I deal with that, and I suppose other people, not just me, I talk about donutting things. So, well, I don't know how else to describe it if I use that. So, if we look at the outside line around here, you can see that's the basic shape of the house. I've then drawn another line, which is about 1 centimetre or ½ an inch inside that outside line. Yeah, and I'm actually going to cut that away.
All right.
And that reminds me of a donut. You know, when
yes.
you remember going to the seaside and there would be the donut making machine?
Yes.
So
I can still imagine the smell of that.
Yes,
as well.
me too.
Yeah.
But they were nice when hot donuts are.
Yes.
So whenever you draw on your, I like Bondo web. There are other fusible webs available, but this is the one that I like to use. And what I'm going to do is cut around my inside line. So I'm cutting out this whole centerpiece. And that's why I was able to use this centerpiece for some of the smaller elements. That's the chimney. There's my window boxes and little hearts and things. So whenever I draw around my shape onto the paper side of my Bondo web, I then will cut that out roughly and attach that onto the reverse side of my fabric. So the rule is rough side to wrong side, to try and remember, because we've all had incidents
yes.
of attaching things to the wrong to the right side of the fabric and attaching the Bondo web to the iron. Iron cleaning products are available. Yeah, it happens.
Paracetamol tablets, apparently.
Yeah, so I heard somebody, I think I possibly heard you say that on a few shows ago.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't tried it yet. Mine's
Well,
from
no,
my
it makes you kind of think, what does that do to your stomach, doesn't it?
Yes, actually.
Yes. So anyway.
So we used to have one of the previous houses when we moved in there. It's been empty for a while, and there were pigeons and doves in the loft.
Oh, okay.
And apparently their poo can strip paint off your car.
Oh, that happened to my daughter.
But imagine what it's doing to their little bottoms.
Oh, gosh. Soda cream required for all pigeons or so. Yeah. My daughter had a car that the parking spot was under a tree, and it was not a good thing. So you see that I have just roughly cut out around the edge of the sheet. I'm going to lose that bit because I don't need that bit. Now, the benefit of doing it like this is that I get to seal the edge of my fabric with the glue, so it does help it to not fray as much. So here I'm doing the roof again, trying to do this in an orderly manner, but doing it as quickly as I can. And hope I have remembered to bring a bit of background fabric. I have to put this on. Designs like this that form the centre of a design, you do need to make sure that you've got your design centred in the middle of the background piece. So if I set those there, put this here, okay. There is some method in the madness here. Okay, so this is the background piece for, it'll have to be the background piece whether it wants to be or not. All right. So the thing to do always is to find the center, so you finger crease in both directions, and then I generally, if this was actually the right size for there, I would also be doing the diagonals across, so that just gives me another line. Missed that one. There we go. Because this is the wrong piece of fabric, but never mind. Because what I want to do is to be able to show those lines, and I'm getting sectors then of eighths around here that would allow me to make sure I'm centered. In this instance, my house is going on to the blue fabric, so rough side to wrong side, and I don't need that bit.
How did you go from being a civil servant to a quilter and a shop owner?
It's quite well. I found myself. I used to work with a board of directors, and I found myself sat at my desk one lunchtime, almost in tears, because I could not get these men's egos to allow them to actually move forward. And I thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I don't want to do this anymore. And at that point, just by chance, a newsletter came in from the existing owner of Village Fabrics, saying that unfortunately her husband had died and she was going to move back to America, to her home, and she was selling the business. And I thought, how much am I going to regret this if I don't at least inquire?
Yes.
And thereby hangs the tale. So I now have my house outline, and at this point I am going to cut exactly on my outside line. Right. So cutting through, the glue is sealing the fabric, and I will only have that 1/2 inch of bonder web around the outside of the sheet, so that I don't get a huge build-up of layer upon layer of glue. The pieces of bonder web that I have cut out are great for doing all the little pieces, so waste not, want not.
Yes, I'm a great believer, just going back to your changing career, of just doing what feels right. You know, that your gut instinct, I think they call it.
I think you only get one chance at life, so you shouldn't have regrets. And, you know, sometimes I think, why am I doing this? But I'm doing this because I like people, and I get to meet such lovely people. Patchwork and quilting has seen me meet people all around the world. I have friends in America, in France, around the world because of what I do. And, you know, every now and again, and I see such beautiful pieces of work. It's a real privilege to see what people can create with their hands.
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm an artist. I can't draw, not my thing. But give me a pair of scissors and a bit of fabric, and that's a different scenario entirely. So the whole aim of this demonstration was to show you that you can layer things up without them becoming unnecessarily stiff.
So have you made your waistcoats today?
Waistcoat. I'm reversible.
Oh!
I'm totally reversible. Okay. So I do, as I said to you earlier, I do a bit of dressmaking. And I have to have reasons for doing things. And whenever we go to, well, not so far this year, but whenever we go out to the big shows, to the Knitting and Stitching Show, Festival of Quilts, whatever, you're never too sure how hot or cold the venue's going to be.
Yeah.
You know,
or both in one day.
Yes. Sometimes, you know, thermals are required, woolly socks. Others, you're down to
your bikini.
Yeah, almost. So I find that a waistcoat is a great way to keep my back and shoulders warm. And shows are normally 4 days. Well, I'm not taking 4 waistcoats, am I? So I do a bit of insides and outsides.
Genius.
Well, so we've gotten that. We're going to pop that on top.
Oh, I could make a reversible bag for you in the next hour to go with the reversible waistcoat.
That would be very kind of you. I've transferred the embroidery on here using a Frixion pen because you are going to cover the entire outline with either a back stitch or a stem stitch, whichever is you're most comfortable with. And this is in my center, and I could go on. All I'm going to do is to add little bits on here, but I thought it might be more interesting to show you the side pieces. These are just interlocking hearts, which I thought were quite fun.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm machine stitching, I would tend to do this with a blanket stitch. You can hand stitch, do a blanket stitch if that's what you enjoy hand stitching at home in your armchair of an evening, which I do. On here, I have just shown you how I would, first of all, I would pin, you know, back to pinning with little pins to secure these, because what you have to remember on this design is that the pieces have to be mirror images.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that one sits on there, but it's wrong if it's on there.
Yeah.
So I thought, just point that out. And the same is true of the corner pieces.
So you've still used Bondweb, but you're
used
pinning before you commit?
Absolutely, just to get the positioning, because you're doing one that way and one that way. And it can be quite easy to do exactly the same thing twice, and in that instance, that would be wrong. So that one goes on there, that one goes on there. So again, I've got the two do the two things in opposition to each other, and make sure that you've got two that look like that and two that look like that. If when you are cutting out these the centres of these hearts, now these, what I do with them, I put Bondweb across the whole of the back of it, and I
no donutting.
No donutting for this in this instance, but because I'm cutting it out anyway.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And if you cut this out really neatly, then you end up with a whole set of little hearts.
Oh yes, of course. Oh.
And that's what I've done with the ones that I've cut out of here. Now, I thought I might put some little stems on or make this into some kind of little vine.
Yes.
Absolutely. Or, you know, perhaps I could write my little granddaughter's name down here, and this could be something to hang in her room. You know, I don't know yet. But this is, again, that, don't throw it away. There'll be a use for it. Yeah. And I'd like to do that. I like to make use of these things. Now, as adding the details to things really just finish things off. So when I have stitched the hearts down, either by hand or machine, whichever way takes your fancy, then to just add another layer to it, I do a little line of running stitch just through the top layer. So if you're not too confident in your hand stitching, don't worry about it being too tiny. Just make sure you have it even, so that the thread that you see and the space that you do afterwards, so that they're even. Yeah. Now, whenever I have done that, whenever it comes to the layering up, I then basically have created the line that I'm going to do my quilting through, because I'm going to do it between the edge of my applique and the stitching, which is what has happened here. And as a result of that, I have pushed forward the little heart, which is the applique part, but I've given it a little bit of depth by that little running stitch inside there. Yeah.
So you do one stitch at a time just to show us, or do you actually do one stitch at a time?
Well, whenever I'm talking, I find that I sometimes do one stitch at a time if I'm going round a curve. I do this because this is relaxing. This is not a rush job. Yeah. But if you can do 2 or 3 stitches at a time, then you're going to get a more even line. You'll get a more flow to it.
What needle do you use? Is that betweens?
No, it's an embroidery needle.
Okay.
Either about a 10. This might be bigger. This might be an 8. But embroidery needles have those nice long oval eyes in them for getting 2 strands of thread through, which is what I've used here. And I've gotten this brighter pink one so that you could see it. Yeah. On the actual sample, it's a paler pink. But I thought, doing that little curve, that was easier whenever I did 2 stitches. But here, because I'm coming to the point, I'm only going to do that so that I can come back up where I want to. I enjoy hand stitching. I find it quite therapeutic.
I like hand stitching. I haven't done any for a while, but I love smocking. The Canadian smocking.
Yes. Smocking. Oh, little granddaughter, you see, there has to be a smock dress coming up soon. but I don't really. So I don't use a thimble. I kind of try and rock and do 3 or 4 stitches at a time, because I say it gives you a better line. Whenever you've got 2 strands of thread, you do need to make sure that you're keeping them both taut. And I say I could do this for some considerable time. Some evenings I do. Now, as always, whenever you have used up the fabric in the sample that you in the kit that you've bought, you've still got all the instructions. So this is where you get to use your imagination and use the bits of fabric that you had at home. So similar but different is all this is, okay? Just to let you see that this is one that I had at home. So, you know, some people don't like yellow. I'm one of them. I'm very surprised that I ever made this.
Just spin it around to face you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. There you go.
So why did you make it in yellow if you don't like yellow?
Because I don't mind this yet. Because, well, you know what? It was because I loved that fabric.
Ah, right.
And I love this one because it's little buttons.
Oh, yes.
So that and that. Well, I couldn't really do it in blue after that, could I? So it turned out to be this sort of buttery lemon, and this is wonderful fabric.
You could almost do the 4 seasons, couldn't you? Because I'm thinking, as soon as you brought the yellow, I thought, oh, it's summer.
Yeah. You know, just use your imagination. Yeah. Once you've gotten the basics, it's all about taking it that step beyond, like they talk in the cooking shows, don't they? Taking it to the next level. Well, you take it to the level that you want to take it to, and just enjoy.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Well, you don't sew as a chore, do you? Right? You just sit down and sew now.
Except
except
whenever people learn that you sew. And would you just turn these trousers up for
me?
them?
You get that as well?
Yeah, isn't it awful? That's not.
We're not going to get it anymore now.
No, that is not the kind of sewing that we do. No.
Alison's messaged in. Hi, Alison. And she said, Yvonne is amazing.
Oh.
So calm, so informative. Yeah,
well, that's very kind. That's very kind. I enjoy my sewing, as I think I said earlier. It's my passion, and I just love sharing it and trying to make life, make it easier and less intimidating.
Yes.
Because I think we all remember our sewing teachers at school. You know, she was the deputy headmistress in my instance, and she frightened the life out of me. But I do enjoy it. I find it relaxing. It's wonderful. I'm never happier than whenever someone has spent time making something for me as a gift, because that has shown a bit of thought, you know, and it's just lovely.
I've had a lovely morning, thank you. Oh, do you have dates for coming back again?
Not yet. I didn't know whether you'd want me.
Oh, of course we do. Can you come back tomorrow?
I do live locally, so in an emergency, but yeah, I'm sure Hayley will be talking to me soon.
I'm sure she will.
I hope so, because it's been fun.
Good, I'm glad you've enjoyed it.
I say, you know, I always, I'm very grateful whenever people appreciate that I do get nervous in these instances and do their best to make it easy for me, as you have done this morning, and Joe and Kat have done, you know, really calmed me down. So that's wonderful.
Well, next time you come in, can you bring cakes again?
Well, I'll see if my daughter's available.
Okay, thank you. If you're on with John, he might prefer gin.
Oh. Don't do gin.
Oh, well.
No, I'm a vodka girl, so
there you go.
It is at least clear.
I'm sure he's happy with anything, really. No, I've had a lovely day. Thank you very much.
Oh no, I have enjoyed it. It's been fun, and you know, I hope you out there have learned a few tips along the way, which is what it's all about. And you know, the more that we can share with one another in this world, the better place it is.
Lovely, thank you. Right, I'll give you a reminder of what we have left in stock, because there's not an awful lot in just a second, but let's remind you this time on how you can place your orders.
Shopping with us couldn't be easier. If you want to shop online, then you can head to our website, www.sewingstreet.com. It will redirect you to our sister channel Jewellery Makers landing page. Don't worry, you haven't gone to the wrong place. We're simply using their website temporarily while we're building our own web shop. Scroll down past the Watch Live part and you'll see all of the products that you will have seen on air on today's live show. You can also shop our catalogue by clicking a category, clicking a product to view closer and adding it to your basket. Once you're ready to check out, you will need to create an account, which is absolutely free to do so, but it will mean that you can check out on as many orders as you want throughout the day with still only paying one postage and packaging. If you'd prefer to speak to somebody in our UK-based customer service team, then you can do so via the free telephone line number 0800 001 4433. They will not only help you create an account, but will also help you with any of your online shopping.
Right, well, we don't have very much left to show you what we've got left, but if you wanted to go for the kit to make the table runner that Yvonne has just shown us, we've got 4 of those left. So aren't you glad you're watching right now? Because you can place your order really quickly, go through to checkout, empty your basket, get on the phone lines and make sure you order yours. Everything you need to make the top. So you will need some wadding and you will need a backing fabric for this one as well. So that's £19.99, including, again, all of the fabric, your instructions very clearly laid out to be able to make the table runner. When this sells out, so if you're watching on YouTube, hello. In fact, this might have sold out by then as well. We have the pattern on its own. So if you wanted to use your own fabric or maybe make a different colourway, then we do have the pattern on its own. That's £7.50. So we've got a couple of ideas here, but again, you can use your own fabric. Have a look on the website if you can on sewingstreet.com. Because we do still have a few of the crane quilts left as well. Not very many. So again, if you wanted to go through to checkout, if you're ordering those, then do be quick. Now coming up in the next hour, I've got brand new fabrics for my reversible bag, so we're going to make one of those from start to finish. And I thought I might make one that's not reversible and put a flap on it. So I might not, but I thought I might do that. Yeah, so that's coming up in the next hour, some brand new fabrics for you. And we're going to be announcing the winners of the Fat Quarter bundles that we've been running over the Christmas last 3 days. So if you've bought anything from the last 3 days, then stick around in the next hour because you may be one of those 3 people that's won £100 worth of Fat Quarters. So again, go and put the kettle on for a second and I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Rosie Wells.
My name's Poppy and I'm a nutritional therapist.
Hi, I'm Ruth Lynette and I can't wait to join you all on the brand new Gemporia Lifestyle channel.
If you're a fan of primal living, you're going to adore what's around the corner.
What is lifestyle? Lifestyle is healthy habits.
Feeling good, it's about looking great.
Making sure that we're taking good care of ourselves inside.
And it's about the life that you lead and the home that you live in.
All of this is why I'm so excited.
We've got the most wonderful team.
Homeware deals and primal deals under one roof on one channel.
I can't wait to share this brand new channel with you. So we'll see you soon on Gemporia Lifestyle.
Gemporia Lifestyle, coming soon to Freeview Channel 74 and Gemporia.com.
Hello and welcome. We love hearing from you and we really hope that you can follow us on our social media platforms. We've got Instagram, which is @SewingStreet. We have Facebook. We've got 2 Facebook pages. One is the Sewing Street TV page and the other one is Sewing Street Fans. All 3 of these are monitored all the time by our wonderful team, and if you want to message us on air, drop us a line on either of those 3 and we'll definitely be able to answer your questions that you may have. If you post on the actual wall, we can perhaps answer there. Otherwise, message us as well. That works really, really well. Thank you so much for being involved, and it's only because of this community that we're able to bring you all these different diverse products and to be able to answer your questions that you may have. Another way you can stay in touch with us is by signing up to our newsletter. These newsletters are sent out to you very regularly, and they include not only our guest profiles of upcoming guests, but also amazing shows that we've got coming up for you. And if you want to look at the amazing products before everybody else, that's the best way to do it. If you'd like to sign up and you haven't already, the link to follow is www.sewingstreet.com/sign up. You won't regret it. Thank you.
If you love sewing, then you need the UK's favourite sewing magazine. Every month, you'll receive exclusive patterns. Follow simple step-by-step guides suitable for all skill levels to make your own stunning clothes, accessories and more, together with inspiring tips and tricks from industry experts. Join in and discover your love for sewing. Try Love Sewing today and get your first 3 issues for just £6.
Hello, my name is Sally Stevens. I'm from Worcestershire, a little town called Upton-upon-Severn, which is a lovely little riverside town. And not far from there, I also have a little sewing studio, so I can work and leave all my mess left out when I'm preparing projects and quilts and so on. My speciality is, in fact, quilting, patchwork and quilting, and I probably started that when I was about 14 years ago. So as I often joke, that was only 7 years ago. In fact, it was rather a lot longer. But I've always enjoyed crafting, and patchwork really hooked me, and I love it. So now then, what can I tell you? Something you may not realise about me is that although lots of you have seen me many, many times on Sewing TV and at classes, because I teach as well, I also do a lot of unpicking. So don't be afraid ever. If you have to unpick things, so do we. It's not a problem. We all have to start somewhere. And sometimes you get a bit cocky and think, oh, I can just do that without pinning or without this. And then you think, should have paid attention to my own words. So some sewing tips for you. That's one, keep a seam ripper handy. That will always be your friend. And another one that I think is very important, whether you're a beginner or more experienced, when you're sewing something, particularly for the first time, a new technique, slow down. There's no rush. It's not a race. Have a little practice with spare fabrics if you've got them before you use your best fabric that you've just purchased so that you get your techniques just right. But also slow down, take your time, watch what you're doing, think about what you're doing, and read the instructions. That's always very useful. So what can I say? I've been asked to say what my claim to fame might be, and I would have to say, in all honesty, being on Sewing Street.
Hello, welcome back again. Right, this is our last live hour, so we're going to do a bit of bag making. We've got quite a varied day today, haven't we? It's been rather nice. This is the original reversible bag that I designed for you. Your kit will come with 2 fabrics and your pattern to make this. Now, I haven't made up the new fabrics yet because I only saw them last night and I'm really excited to see them. Completely reversible, but the bag that I'm going to make today isn't. I'm going to put a little flap over the top, so that's what makes it not reversible, but I just thought I'd ring the changes a little bit for you. So with this one, when I turned it the other side out, it's got a plain on the one side. And if I just push that out, I'll show you. I used part of the pattern of the butterfly as a plique. You could do exactly the same with the prints that we've got here because they're floral. So you could put a little bit of a plique, or even more so if you wanted to. The only thing I'd say, if you're making it reversible like this, keep your hand stitches nice and neat across the bottom because you will have to hand sew the opening closed. If you do it on a sewing machine, it won't look as nice. But I don't know if I'd ever turn that inside out, because I do kind of like the pattern side, but that's entirely up to you. The one that I'm going to do today isn't actually reversible. So you have photographic step-by-step instructions, loads of pictures in there, just like I do with my books or magazine articles or anything like that. So all very, very simply explained. And obviously you've got a different pattern on the instructions than the fabrics that you're going to buy now. Well, I say you're going to buy that if you want to buy, oh, that sounded a bit bossy, didn't it? It's what you're going to buy this now. Didn't mean that. If you would like to. So let's have a look at what we got. So So these are canvas fabrics. When we say canvas, canvas sounds like something you've stretched around a frame and it's really heavy and it's something that you paint onto. This is more of a home deck weight of fabric, so it's a soft canvas. The kind of things that you could cover a footstool in or make a really sturdy bag or curtains and that kind of weight. Wouldn't use it for dressmaking, wouldn't use it for quilting, but it's really good for bag making because it's soft, it's easy to work with, it's soft and long and very, very strong. Oh, I think somebody's already done that, haven't they? And it's £19.49. So there's half a metre of each of those. You'll have enough left over to make a matching purse or a smaller version of the bag maybe, or a wallet or something like that. And again, full instructions included for your £19.49. Aren't they pretty colours? It says like a salmony pink. So lily fabrics and then the plain grey as well, which go really, really well together, but nice and fresh and just pretty. Different colours in the same print. So you change the colours even though the print's the same, and this now looks evening time to me. This looks really striking. So again, you've got the lilies on the rust background this time with the contrast of the black. So again, I have the black maybe for the border around the top and the handles, or you could have the handles in the print, or handlers, and it's up to you. You've got plenty of fabric, you can do what you like with it. Again, at £19.49, there's a metre in total of those. And if I just open one of these out to show you your width, they're 140. So you see what I mean about having plenty of fabric left over. I'll explain, well, I'll show you how much you have left over shortly. So it is quite nice to have a little matching something or other, even if it's a little drawstring bag or somewhere a little bag to keep masks in and stuff. I don't make masks out of this, it's too heavy. Right, and then, I love this one. I've got two favourites. I should say I've got 5 favourites, shouldn't I really? But I've got 2 favourites and this is one of them. I love this mustard colour, we're calling it ochre, but I just love the colour. Again, you've got the lily design and this one is with the grey, and the two together just look so classy. So I might use that one. But my other favourite is this one, because it's that same colour, it's that ochre colour. That's lovely, what a lovely combination. It's like a watercolour of flowers on this one. So that's a little bit bright and very summery, isn't it? Make a great beach bag. Are we allowed to go to beaches again at the moment? I think we've been tightening restrictions, haven't we? So again, £19.49 for those, and that is, I'll just show you again, including your full instructions. Completely reversible if you want it to be. If you're going to start putting pockets and things like that on, then it may not actually be reversible in that respect. So £19.49, this is the grey. So it's not black like it says there, it's grey. And oh, look at those two. Perfect match of colours. Look at these. And again, it's £19.49 for those. If you want a quick reminder, have a look on the website. If you have internet access at the moment, it's sewingstreet.com, and then you can have a little perusal and have a reminder of all of those combinations that we have for you. Of course, you can place your order that way as well. I might do that one. Doesn't matter which one I do. I've got 3 favourites. Not saying I don't like the others, just you like some things more than others, don't you? We have H640. You don't need an interfacing with this fabric, but it will be quite a floppy bag. If you want a floppy bag, then just don't use any interfacing. It's not because it's see-through or that it doesn't have any kind of structure, because it does. But I'm using H640 because I want my bag to keep its shape. Here you get a metre square, so it's a lot. More than you'd need for the bag, because I only use H640 on the outside of the bag, not on the lining. Although there isn't a lining, there's an outside and an inside, because you can turn it around. The one that you're going to use on the outside most, I'd put the interfacing on there, because that's the bit that you normally feel. That gives it that luxurious feel. So let's get sewing, shall we? Right. So move you there. You go there. First thing I'm going to do is chop off those selvages, because we don't want those. And, oh, that's a big ruler. So off you come. Pretty, isn't it, this one? And I'll do the same with the second piece in just a second. I'm just going to give myself a reminder of how big this is because I've made a few in different sizes previously. So that is, I'm not telling you, because then you won't buy the pattern, will you? Cut. So right. So we'll cut out 2 pieces for the outer, and then we'll have 2 pieces for the lining. So I have a ruler. Where are we? Bit bigger than that. Right. We're there. It's just about the size of the mat. There. So when I'm cutting 2 pieces here, so the piece that I've got left here has got the fold on it. When you're cutting them out, make sure you cut from the cut end, not from the folded end, because if I just cut this and I'll show you, if I cut across here, just making that nice and square, the piece that I've got left over is on the fold, so it's actually that big. Whereas if I cut from the folded end, the piece that I have left over at this end will be in 2 pieces. So it's, I mean, that may be fine, but I'd rather have 1 big piece of fabric left over than 2 pieces that big, because now I've got a cushion cover front. That's actually what's left over. I am going to cut the handles out of this as well, so it'll be a bit smaller than this. Or you could do 1 handle in that and 1 handle in that. There's lots you can do with it. Right, let's cut the width of this as well. So if I just turn this around, and I know that the sides are straight because I've just cut those. So we'll take the end off here. You could use webbing handles, you know, that'll save you even more fabric. And across this way. So it is quite a big bag. We are here. Oh, we've got leather burgundy apparently on the website. That'd look nice, wouldn't it? Right, so that's the size of my bag. Save these pieces because these are going to be the top of the lining piece. And I've still got all this spare. So I'm going to use, let me just measure that and cut that down to size as well. So I'll need, I'm going to do 2 pieces of this and 2 pieces of the plain. So I'll just cut that there and there, so that's spare. And then I'll use the pieces that I've just cut as templates for this. Now then, what shall I make the flap out of? I think we'll have the flap in the plain colour. So I'll use that as a template, so I'm not having to remeasure everything. And this side. And then I'm going to put my fleece on the wrong side of the floral. Then we can start sewing it together. Oh, we need to figure out the flap. I think, yeah, the flap in the plain I think would look good. There we go. And then I'll need a couple of pieces of this one. 2, 3, 4, yes. Right, can you hear the party that they're having next door? I don't know if my mic's picking that up, but they're having quite a boozy session, I think, at lunchtime in Jewellery Maker. So it sounds like. Right. So those are all my pieces. So the outside of my bag is going to look like this. And then it'll have a couple of creases like that. And then it's going to have that around the top. So actually, I think the flap in the floral might be nicer. And then maybe the handle in the floral as well. We can do that, we've got enough fabric. Okay, so let me do the handles first, because I want all the handles the same, or both the handles the same. The grey's the most popular at the moment, so that needs to be 4 inches wide. And however long that is. If you wanted longer straps, then do use webbing instead, because you might not have enough for a very long over shoulder strap with this one. So I've got 2 pieces for the handle there, just so I can work out how much I've got left. So have I got enough for a flap? Of course I have. So we'll stick that on there. So let's have the flap. Where are we? About 7 inches. That'd be fine. And let me just square that off. That is on the fold. So I'm just going to separate those 2 pieces. That goes there. Ooh. I should be so glad when we've got more space. That was my toolbox. Then I'm going to round off the corners of the bag. So I'm going to do that through all 4 pieces at the same time. I'll turn it that way so you can see what I'm doing. So if you have a template, then just draw a circle around here. If you don't, and you're quite confident, you can just go for it and just make it go around like that. And to make sure my curves are the same, I'm going to use that piece of fabric as a template on that side and cut it round. Okay, so fusible fleece on the back, so I'll need my ironing board and an iron. I'll just give that a quick press because I don't like working with creased fabric. So they can go to one side. This is going to go on here. Get lots here. Plenty enough for a few bags. And this one's been cut into as well, hasn't it? Right, so put that in the corner there. The nice thing with the H640 is that it will take steam. Some of these buckle when you steam them, but Villeslin doesn't. It's a lovely quality. If it doesn't stick all over, don't worry, because you're going to sew this into the seam anyway. And just try not to get the knobbly bits on your iron, because that is glue. Yeah, then paracetamol will be coming out. Not because it gives you a headache. I was going to put a magnetic snap on there, but I haven't got one. Let's cut this out. So I could do a button and a buttonhole actually. It won't have time, I don't think, because I'd rather show you how you're going to make your bag up. But I shall explain. And then I'll do the same with the second part. So again, this is the outer fabric I'm doing this on, because this one's not going to be reversible. And then I'm going to put some in the flap as well, because I think it gives it a nice plumpness, a firmness. H640 will help the bag to keep its shape, but it's not like a really stiff foam. It's not going to stand up alone, but it will be quite sturdy. It would be a very floppy bag if you didn't have your H640 or some kind of stabiliser behind there. But there again, if you want a floppy bag, that's fine. You have a floppy bag. That's that. So I think with making bags, you can make them however you want them. So as this isn't reversible, this time I could put some patch pockets on the inside. I could add a zipped pocket. So it's nice to have what you want in a bag, isn't it? I do like lots of pockets. My handbag that I use every day Doesn't have any pockets on the inside, and I spend ages looking for my car keys and things just rolling around in the bottom of the bag. But still. Right, this is your favourite pattern now, the black one. It is pretty. It's trans-seasonal. Right, there you go. Because the flowers are quite summery, but the colour is going to take you through the seasons, isn't it? I'm going to round off the corners of this one again. So not so much of a curve on this one, but just so that we do that. We don't even have 20 of this one left. That's the lily with the rust lily rust. So this one you have the lily fabric and the black fabric, but that one's going really, really quickly. There's half a metre of each of the fabrics and your full instructions to make the bag as well. And it's ever so easy. If you've never made a bag before, this is a great one to start with because it's so simple, it's so quick. Oh, now then, because I'm not putting the, so I've got a leaky iron. Because I'm not putting the magnetic snap on. Normally I do that now, so the thinner part of the snap goes on the lining part of the flap and the thicker part goes onto the bag. But I could put a nice big buttonhole on this afterwards. Whoops, I'm just going to go off and on again to get my centre stitch back. Come on. Like a disco. No, I don't want to save the last one. Raise the needle bar. Do I want to save the last pattern? No. Right, there we go. And I'm using a 1/4 inch seam allowance or thereabouts. I tend to use the edge of my foot, so it's not like when you're patchwork and quilting and you need that exact seam allowance. As long as it's consistent, then that's fine. So the edge of my foot is slightly larger. It helps when you thread the needle when you're sewing. Always a bonus. Come here, in there, round there, round there. And then down there. Needle in the uppermost position helps. There we go. So I do it again with thread, because I've unthreaded it. Honestly, you're playing that, Deborah. In there, round there. It was going swimmingly, wasn't it? Come out here, that's it. Have I unthreaded it again? No, I've got it in a knot now. That's it. All right, away we go again. So gently around the curves, because you're going to see this from the outside. So this is going to make the shape of the flap and I want it to be nice and curvy. Then I'm going to just trim off the curved sections here. Like so, just to cut down on the bulk in the curves. Then we'll turn this the right side out and I'm going to top stitch. I would have put a bright coloured thread on this one, but for speed's sake, we'll have brown. We like brown thread on Sewing Street. We use a lot of brown thread. Brown thread is all we have. I could have delved into that Gutermann box, couldn't I? Right, normally as this is a top stitch, you could just make the stitch that little bit longer. And again, careful around the curves because you're going to see a top stitch. The top stitching is going to hold the layers of fabric together, but it's also a nice decorative element. It gives a professional shop bought look, I think, to a bag. So again, that's just top stitched all the way around. So that's that to one side. Let's do the handles while I'm here as well. So I've got two 4-inch strips of fabric and I'm going to fold the long sides to the centre so they're folded in half and then fold to the centre again so it's like a long piece of bias binding. So that's there. Don't need any kind of wadding behind this because 4 layers of canvas fabric is quite thick. And you don't want, well, I don't want the handles standing up on end. If you do, then I'd maybe put just one strip of 1 inch wide H640 straight down the middle. So fold that in half again. And I'm going to sew down both sides of that. One side to hold it together and the other side because it balances it. There we go. And here. There we are. Don't forget we're going to announce the winners later on from our Christmas giveaway, 10 fat quarters. Or 10 packs of fat quarters, I should say, so 50 fat quarters. And you should be getting your Christmas badges soon as well. All right. And we're going to just sew down each side. You could do a few rows of stitching down the centre if you like. Oh, Pam's messaged in. Hi, Pam. Just morning. Oh, she says I need a handbag organiser. She's been making quite a few. Do you know, that is such a good idea, and coincidentally, I've just made one. But it's for a book. So I'm not using it as yet. Yeah, that's such a good idea. So it's like a pouch. Well, mine is just a pouch that goes inside your bag with lots of pockets and zip pockets and patch pockets and stuff to keep things in. And on this side. This is why we like a fast sewing machine. When we've got lots and lots of straight lines to sew. Okay, I'll just snip that off. Pick up the one that went on the floor. And where are we? Lovely, we've got plenty of time. Let's start putting this thing together. So I'm going to put a couple of little pleats in the top and I will pin those with long pins. Where's my pins? Excuse the top of my head. Okay, we'll use short pins then. Right. And we need to make sure that these are even. So you've got your measurements in your instructions, but basically I'm just going to pinch to one side and we'll have that there. And then pinch on the other side facing in the opposite direction so that can go there. And that one is 3.5 inches, so this one needs to be 3.5 inches so that they're symmetrical. So I've just used, keep that square, use the top of the, or use my mat to measure those. But then for the second half, where did I put that? Oh, here we go. I'm going to do that mirror imaging, the one that I've just done. So now I've got the pleats in exactly the same place. So one here, and they're facing in the same direction as well. There's one, and there's two. Obviously, you're going to take far much more time at home when you get your kits back than I'm doing here. And measuring and marking and making them perfect. So I'll do the same with the lining pieces, and again I'm using this section as a measuring guide because I'd like them all in the same position. And the same on this side. It's not so imperative, I think it's just quite nice to have everything lining up. And the same here. So this gives your bag a little bit of shape. So it looks nice, but it's more about giving it the shape. And let's pin this one here. And then I'm going to sew these in place. And I'm going to sew about a couple of inches down, so I've got a proper creased pleat in there that'll hold its shape. So just a few stitches and reverse. And again, measure and mark these when you do yours at home so that you're sewing exactly the same length down each pleat. I'm just doing that by eye. And we'll do that on all 4 pieces. All by the same amount. I did make, when we first launched these with the butterfly ones, I did a purse version because it would be quite easy to do this style, put the band across the top, obviously leave off the handles and then put a zip across the top of it. So it's a little bit more like a makeup bag. And again, you will have enough fabric left over to do things like that. Or you could do a mini-me version of the whole actual bag, which would be quite sweet. Cut. Almost there with these. And there you go. One more left here. Then I'll need to put some of the H640 onto the band that goes around the top as well, or just onto one side of it anyhow. That's it for the pleats. A nice coral coloured thread would have been good, wouldn't it, on this one? Oh, we've got variegated threads on the website. Okay, so there's my 4 pieces. Let's take the band that goes across the top of the outer section. So I'm using the coral for the outer, and that's going to have fleece behind it. Who's been sticking pins in the mat? Bad form. Blame John. He always sticks pins in mats. I've only met John a couple of times. He's not going to want to meet up with me. Right, so fleece on the back of here. Like so, both pieces. And there we go. And then we'll put the handles on. I had a message from Christine. Hi, Christine. Oh, how many stitches a minute for this 780? No idea. It's really quick, isn't it? It's about 1200. I think we might be on a par with an overlocker for this one. It is a very quick machine. But we're going to check and let you know. There's a bit of Googling going on upstairs. I had quite a few messages yesterday and this morning actually about Darphine stag quilts that we sold out of within seconds yesterday, and they are going to be back in stock. They won't be back in stock until Wednesday, so watch out on the website first thing Wednesday morning. If they're not there straight away, keep looking because I think they'll go again as soon as they come in. Right, so that's that. Now we need to put the handles on, but I need to leave room for the flap. So this isn't in the instructions because there's no flap on the instructions. So let's line up these. Oh, actually these need trimming down a little bit as well, because now we've put the pleats in here, these straps are shorter. So let's line that up there and trim to size. Same with that one. And then these 2 pieces. Oh, got 2 spare ones of those. Is it the same? I think I might have used the wrong bit there. Never mind. So that goes there. And again, this is just because we put the pleats in. So these fabrics have shrunk a little bit. 1060 stitches a minute, this machine. I thought it was getting close to an overlocker speed. It's really quick. Right, I think that one's a little bit narrower than that. Let me trim that down a little bit because I want those to be the same size. There we go. Right, so let's start arranging this. So that's my bag. That's the top of the bag. And that's the flap of the bag. So I'm going to use my mat again to line this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's in the centre there. And I think we'll have some clips on it this time because my fabric's getting quite thick. So you can go there and you can go there. And then handles are going to go facing downwards on either side. Quite nice if they can go above the pleats. Okay. Make sure it's not twisted as you come around, and you can double check again that they're the same distance from the end on your mat. It needs to move over that way slightly. That's better. And then we'll repeat this on the opposite side here with the second handle again facing down like so. Again, making sure it's not twisted. Right, so I'm just going to sew those in place first. So Christine's come back and said the speed's amazing. Her machine is so slow. It is a very fast machine, Christine. You consider that most domestic sewing machines are between, I don't know, 450, 750. 750 is normally a quick sewing machine. Hers is 850 with foot down to the boards. 850 is not so bad for a domestic sewing machine, but this is it's a lot quicker. Now we're going to put the second half, so the lining sides across the top. Are we going to do that? No, we're not. We're going to put these on top of the bag is what we're going to do. So that's the outside there. Right sides together to the top of the bag. We'll do it this way. And we'll sew straight across. Pin if you wish. I don't tend, I'll pin if I'm dressmaking. I'll pin if I really want to make points perfect if I'm quilting. But on bags, I don't tend to. Because it's just as easy to make sure the edges match up as you're going. That's there. So now you can see how my bag's going to look. That's the flap that's going to go over the top. I had a message from another Christine who says, morning all, morning another Christine. Oh, she's just tried the paracetamol tip to clean her iron and it works a treat. Who was it who told us that one? Was it Janice? All right, so again, just sew across the top. Yes, apparently if you get a mucky iron, a chalky paracetamol tablet, just rub it on the mucky iron and it brings the muck off. I have yet to try, but I'm glad it works. That's that one. So again, we've got that. And then we'll do the same with the lining pieces and the remaining pattern section. Like so. Bit of top stitching would look nice across there as well, actually. More time at home, I'd do that. That's going across here. So you do have all of your instructions in the kit, so you won't be rushing, you can take your time. They're made up in very much the same way. Again, if you wanted to add pockets, flaps, anything that you like, it will make it not reversible, but maybe you don't want a reversible bag. And the fabric is really such lovely quality. I'm really pleased with this. Because it's a really solid fabric. It's perfect bag making fabric. because it's so without any kind of fusible fleece, it will be a floppy bag, but it's got such more structure than just using cotton. And it looks expensive, you know. I have to have a designer bag. Right, so those are my two lining pieces. These are my two outer pieces. And now also the outer to the lining. I'm making such a mess again, aren't I? Right. So right sides together like so. And we're just going to sew across the top like that, with the handles trapped in the middle. Okay, so. So again, just lining up the edges. So it's quite a quick bag actually, isn't it? If you wanted a quick project, it's not going to take too long to make. Carol's messaged in. Hi, Carol. She says, "Do you always make bags as quickly as this? You make it look so easy." Honestly, Carol, when you've made as many bags as I have, I can do a quick bag. I've made hundreds, literally, and they're all different. They have similar qualities. There is a similar bag to this in one of my books, but there will be a difference. There'll be a different size or different techniques or something. I like making bags. And I like using different techniques on the bags as well. There's some of my bags coming up tomorrow actually, aren't there? The quilted backpack from my backpacks book. It's not me, but the bags will be here. Just put that handle straight. Across there. And snip. And then we'll sew these two pieces together. So I've got the lining and the lining, outer and outer, together like that. But I'm going to start at the seams where I'm matching the seam here, because that's the most important bit, because I really want those to line up. And again, if you really want to be accurate, you can stick a pin in that bit. And we'll go all the way around. Oh. I like a machine that lets me know when the thread's broken. Right, so up, down, round. Remove the foot control. I think I might have pressed something untowards there. In there, across there, round there, down there, and pull it through. I'd never buy a machine without a needle threader. They're so quick. Right. Oh, that's a rather long tail. Then take that off. So you follow all of the grooves, all these little grooves, no matter where they are. All machines will be different. Make sure your thread goes through all of those, because they affect the tension of your sewing machine. I've got one little groove to go here, and that clips the thread in place. And then I'm being told to go around the top there and snip off the end of my thread, and then bring down the needle thread at the side. And that makes a very small loop, a very large loop. It takes a very small hook through the eye of the needle. Come here. And so I'm trying to do that so you can see it. And the hook grabs hold of the thread, pulls it through to make a loop, and then you thread it. Easy peasy. So let's... What have I done now? It says rethread. I'm threaded. What are you talking about? Thank you. Rethread and start, rethread and start. I am threaded. I've got that. I'm doing that. The bobbin's there. Oh, it's not having any of this. Right, off and on again. I love that noise when it starts up. Right, now we'll sew. Will we sew? You're going to let me do it now? Why I thought the thread was broke. An overcautious sewing machine, methinks. Get nice and smooth around the curves. Could have used a longer stitch. But but a smaller stitch is a stronger stitch. Actually, that's a sign of a quality garment if you're buying anything off the peg. Small stitches cost more money because it's more time consuming to do. It's a lot quicker to use larger stitches, so you normally find that more expensive fabric, more expensive garments have tiny stitches on the inside. Right, so I'm coming up to these side seams again that I want to match. Straight across the edge, and then we're onto the lining. Could have matched better, but you know. And I'll need to leave a gap in the bottom. Now I don't need to worry this time about hand sewing the bottom closed. If you're using this as a reversible bag, then you will need to make a very neat, very small ladder stitch to close the opening. So the smaller the opening you leave, the less hand sewing you have to do. But you will have to do that. So we'll leave a gap there. So just reverse backwards, so I'm not going to split the seam as I'm forcing the fabric through, and then same on this side. And back to the start. There you go. And just lift the foot over that lumpy bit. And we're there. Right, so now we'll turn the whole thing through that gap that I left. I'm not trimming back to the seams, I don't really think it's necessary on this bit. So pull that through there. Just make sure my seams are nice and neat, because at this point if you don't have a perfect curve you can always go back over it again. So that looks pretty good. Then I've got a hole in the lining, so I'm going to machine sew that over. So if you pull the two edges of the hole outwards away from each other, the raw edge wants to curl in, so let it do that. Just pop the thread in there, in you go. And then sew. Knock the other side and snip. And then we'll push the lining inside. That will need a jolly good press. I will top stitch all the way around the top after I've pressed it. So I've got the seam right on the top here. Black would look nicer on there actually, wouldn't it? I'll maybe finish that later. So there's my two straps. And then my flap comes down there in between the straps. And I will put a buttonhole across here and then a nice big button on the inside there. If I was making a magnetic snap, I didn't have any with me, so I didn't do that. I think it might be quite nice to still have a big button on the front. Maybe if I got a peachy one or a green one, just as an extra decorative little incident. So this isn't exactly the pattern for the one that you're going to get. It won't have the flap. But it will be, and it will be reversible, so you'll be hand sewing the bottom over. But you can see the size of the bag that you're going to make, which is rather large, so it's nice and roomy as well. And you've got fabrics left over as well, so whatever I use for the flap, and you've got extra bits and bobs here as well, so you could easily make a matching purse with what's left. So, do you think you like it? And of course you'll have even more fabric left over if you wanted to make something matching, if you used webbing handles instead of making your own like that. But I think they look quite nice when you make your own. So just snip that thread. So that's the black. This is the grey. So we don't need that now, do you? Let's move that out of the way so you can see nicely. There we are. So the grey has that lovely ochre colour. But it looks like a watercolour, doesn't it? The flowers and the buds, we've got carnations and pinks on this one. It's really pretty, and again, really lovely quality as well. So use those however you like. I don't think you're going to be reversing it, because I just think this fabric is so beautiful. But they go together really well. They're both canvases, and you will have this and your instructions for just £19.49. Full photographic instructions, and I like to keep things really simple. So if you're a complete beginner sewer and you've never made a bag before, you're going to be able to make this one. It's really, really simple. If you're a more experienced bag maker, then you're going to be adding pockets all over the place, aren't you? So there's the grey. Done it again, I've done it again. Sounds awful, doesn't it? We've got 3 choices of the lily. So this is the rust. I need to tidy up because I'm not in tomorrow and I don't want to be talked about while I'm not here. Oh, actually jewellery maker are coming in, aren't they? Should we be really rowdy while they're in here? So this is the rust stop. I think we should have a party, an after-show party, because it sounds like they're having a pre-show party next door. £19.49 again. You've got half a metre of each of those, and they're extra wide. They're 140 centimetres wide, plus your instructions for your £19.49. Then we have the pink, which is a really nice salmony pink, this time with the pale grey in the background colour. That looks quite oriental, doesn't it? Really pretty. Again at £19.49, instructions included. And then finally you have the ochre. I like all of these, you know, I think it's such a lovely selection of prints and colours and threads. And again, that's £19.49 for everything that you need. And just take a look again at the amount of fabric that you're going to get. So it's 140 wide, and the plain one's the same, so you get a nice sizable piece of fabric. But consider that you can use this in any direction as well, so you can probably save yourself some fabric if you use it that way. But consider you've got your bag there, and then maybe your extra to go around the top and your extra for your straps. You've got about that much left over. So you could make a matching purse as well. Didn't put that in the instructions, did I? Never thought about that. Right, so that's that one. Use the H640. I use a lot of this. Now you will have loads left over because you get a square metre, but you'll use it for all kinds of things, and it's really easy to use. It's easy to sew through. It's polyester. It's washable. You don't need to trim it back to the seams, and it gives your bag a nice structure. It's only £9.99, which again is a great price. We've got Gutermann threads. These are back in stock. So look at this. You've got a tin full of threads. 48 of them in total. I love the tin. I love it for storage. I'd love it as a gift. I'd love to receive it. But when you open this up, look at what's inside here. Oh, yes. So, what would I think that would black, maybe the black with that one. What would I use for this? Oh, now then. So that one, that one, that one. That one, 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 that one. Or even, great, all those different of there, perfect. So you can see why you need these, they go with everything. What about the pink? See, again, I go for a black. That one, isn't it? Got to be that one. Same tone. What else have we got? We had another one. Oh, it's this one, wasn't it? Oh, no, we used... Oh, no, that one. You get the idea. Something for every project. You've got 48 shades in here for £59.99 at a very affordable price. £1.33 a spool. These work out at. That's including your postage as well. I'd expect to pay £2.99 at least for one of these Gutermann threads. It's so all thread, so it's polyester, but it's got a matte finish. But it means it's really strong. So that's going to be perfect for dressmaking and quilting alike. Certainly for bag making when you want a really, really strong seam. And it's 50 weight, which is the most popular weight of thread that you're going to use. So it's great to stock up on that. Each one of those has got 100 metres on each roll. We've only got 20 of these left though. Hasn't it been busy for the last few days? We're all in the mood for a bit of sewing, aren't we? You can order more than one. So if you want one for yourself and one for a gift, or if you just want two, then order as many as you like. These offers aren't restricted to one per person at all. We've got other Gutermans. We've got variegated threads here. So have a look on the website because we've got lots of different options for you. So if I was going to choose one, oh, you know what I'm going to choose, don't you? It would be the big one. So you've got a combination here of the variegated and of the plains as well. I like the variegated threads if I'm embroidering. If you're doing a little bit of free motion embroidering when you're quilting, then that is, it creates a really lovely effect. It just kind of almost changes colours before your eyes. These work out at £2.29 per spool, which is very good value for money, isn't it? Yeah, especially considering that they're variegated. I love that green one. It's really pretty. Oh, and the reds and greens is nice as well. Yeah, really lovely thread. And again, the Gutermann, so you have the quality that you would expect from Gutermann as well. And these are 100% polyester, so they're your same sew-all. That's a pretty one. Sew-all threads. Right, the black bag with flowers that I made up. We have 7 of these left. Oh, that went quickly. Again, if you just joined us, I need a button on there. So I'm going to do a buttonhole. I need to press it and I need a bit of top stitching going on. But that's the size of the bag that you're going to be able to make. Without the flap, it's completely reversible. You'll have 1/2 metre of each of 2 contrasting fabrics, and the instructions are in there as well. But that one's been a really popular one. Not surprised. Look nice if you're wearing pink, wouldn't it? Now, we've been celebrating Christmas over the last 3 days, and we are going to give away 3 prizes of £100 worth of fat quarters. 10 bundles of 5 fat quarters are going to go to 3 lucky winners. And they are Angela Cross, Barbara Neal, Margaret Thompson. Congratulations. We'll get those 2 as quickly as we can. So if you want to get in touch with us, send us a message on Facebook. You can phone us, you can email us, but get in touch with us and we'll have your prizes sent out to you as quickly as you can. All right. Susan really enjoyed, it's been a lovely show, hasn't it? Thank you for that, Susan. Yvonne's done some really lovely shows today, and we've had lots of lovely messages which have all been passed on to her as well, so thank you for those. Right, we do have some bits and bobs left over from Christmas, by the way. So if you remember the gingerbread house doorstop, that's SVXC62. Take a look online. That's the whole panel to make up the gingerbread kit, and it's covered in applique. And the toy filler is included as well. You just need some pellets to put in the bottom if you're going to use it as a doorstop. And then on the left-hand side there, you can see we've got 2 choices of advent calendar with lights. Those are really classy. So the one on the left-hand side is the white, and the one on the right-hand side, the vintage-looking one, is the white one. But really simple to make. Have a look at the shows yesterday on YouTube if you want to see hints and tips on how to make those. Now we also have Victoria Pete's Mr. and Mrs. Claus foundation paper piecing, which is exclusive. That is still available if you want to get hold of those. It's UPXC43. But again, if you haven't got a pen on you, then have a look on our website on sewingstreet.com and you'll see everything that we have remaining for you there. So, shall we look what's coming up tomorrow? Well, at 8 o'clock in the morning, it's a Quilt As You Go mug mat with Cara Akerman. So magical. There's a book launch at 9 o'clock in the morning. She's going to be making up one of my quilted backpacks at 10 o'clock, sewing room tools at 11, and then we've got a repeat at 12 o'clock of the Dancing Cranes quilt with Yvonne. Now, we're not sure if there's going to be any available there, but the show will still be on. So if you've already got your kit, or if you buy it now and you didn't see the show this morning, then you can take a look tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So in the next hour, we are still here for the next hour, but we're not live. And in the next show coming up now, we have one of the shows from yesterday, which is a wall hanging. So do stay around for the next hour. I shall see you again bright and early on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. So it's lovely to have your company then. But I've had a lovely couple of days. Thank you for being with us. Stay safe for the rest of the week, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye.